Camping World Truck Series racing from Sonoma, California. Sonoma Raceway, and 5 races remain, including this one, before the playoffs begin. So every race so important. You see those drivers highlighted in yellow have already recorded a win this season and secured a spot in the playoffs. Only 10 make it.
That's right. And Grant Enfinger was sitting pretty until St. Louis last week. Had a crash, and now he's on the bubble. And you see John Hunter Nemechek leading the points. And he had a crash, and now he's third. Well, Vince, that's how quickly these things can turn upside down. We saw that at St. Louis.
Well, we certainly did. And in fact, at St. Louis, John Hunter Nemechek suffered a disappointing finish, wrecked early in the race, and ended up 35th. He went from leading the regular season points to a 29-point swing. Now finds himself 4th in the standings at minus 22 for that regular season title and the 15 playoff bonus points that come with it. So you can ill afford a disastrous finish again if you're one of these drivers.
15 bonus points, playoff points. That means that's the equivalent of winning 3 races. And that gives you that insurance if you have a bad race in the playoffs to get to the next round. Very important. And these drivers all know that. They're going to race really hard for those playoff points.
There's John Hunter Nemechek. You see starting 7th, and that one road course win on his resume. It's John Hunter's birthday today, celebrating his 25th. Boy, what a nice gift that would be for him if he could sip from the goblet at the end of the day. The winner sips from the champion's goblet, and it'd be a nice little toast for John Hunter if he could do that on his birthday. Well, it was Heim time in St. Louis last week with Corey Heim winning, and out to Sonoma today, Knoxville, and then Nashville prior to the playoffs beginning. Pocono, the final race of the regular season.
That plane's getting tired, Vince. There goes Carson heading toward the back. Josh, what are they saying down there? How long is this kid going to be able to tough it out with that bad wheel?
Yeah, things definitely changed when he did have to go to the back of the field. As you see, Daniel Suarez is on standby. Initially, Carson wanted to be able to run as many laps as he could, but being in the back of the field, in danger of getting caught up in any of those wrecks, they're going to have to be smart about it. That's what the team stressed. They have to be smart. So if a caution comes out early, you can expect that driver change to get Daniel Suarez in that truck as soon as possible and to get Carson out of harm's way. So for now, Daniel Suarez standing by, but expect to probably see him as soon as they can.
He qualified 8th, did Suarez for the Cup race tomorrow, so he feels comfortable here. Here's Carson Hocevar last week at St. Louis. This is what created the injury, the lower leg injury on the right leg. And then today, after he had already crossed the timing line to earn pole position, he lost control of his truck and suffered significant cosmetic damage. Not a lot of structural damage there, but a lot of cosmetic damage because they repaired it. Unapproved adjustments, and he has to start at the tail.
Definitely going to be one of the more challenging aspects in races for his part of this day. But I think he's up for it. I think he's going to do a solid job here. I think we're going to be able to make this pass to Suarez. And I think Suarez will be a bit of a factor at the end of this if we get the right cautions at the right time.
Five-time Daytona Rolex winner, the 24-hour race. What is the key to getting a great start as we look at our race analysis brought to us by Camping World on the screen there? See the stages 20, 25, and 30. But I was wondering, Andy, on this start, where's the driver at mentally? What does he have to accomplish during these first couple of laps?
I tell you, on all of these road courses, you could look at the number of laps and go, man, I don't have a lot of time. You have a ton of time. This might not be a 500 or 600 mile long race, but you have a ton of time. With the way these stages fall and the way we always see the action nonstop, door to door, and craziness happen on these NASCAR road races, you have time, so you need patience. That's your number one thing. You charge at the end of that third stage.
11 turns, 1.99 miles in length. Kyle Busch and Ross Chastain starting on the front row. Busch is screen left, Chastain screen right, and the green is out at Sonoma. Chastain to the point.
That was a quick start there by Chastain. Kyle didn't get off to a good start, one or the other. Hard to tell what happened, but man, look at that gap he's already got.
It is so tough to see over that crest of that hill when you are over the crest of 2, over the crest of 3A, when you are all by yourself, when you are nose to tail and side by side, you are flying blind.
And you're doing it 2 and 3 wide at times. And there's that turn 4 we talked about, going off the track, getting right back on just before that wall. You see all the drivers taking advantage of that extra real estate out to the left side of the track.
If you've never been here, these are tight corners, and these guys are still 2x2.
You want to sort it out by the S's if you can, for sure.
Right here, you better funnel in line here.
And they are indeed doing that, and still trying to work it out deeper in the pack.
What a beautiful setting. You said it, Vince. The landscape. Oh, you see Kyle Busch off the road. He's going to lose that second spot.
I watched that 51 truck in practice, and normally they are hooked up and going. When I was with you guys at COTA, that car drove off the corner and drove through the middle. It did everything right. Looking at it in practice, you could see Kyle was struggling. He wasn't happy with that truck.
Sporting the Yahoo colors today, and the purple machine. A little different look for Kyle in the 51. Still battling Majeski for that second position, going to secure it. Of course, Kyle, the all-time winningest driver in series history. We documented, and Jamie touched on it as well. Still looking for his first win this season, and this is his final race. He only gets 5 as a Cup driver, and only gets 5 starts in the Truck Series, and this is his final one. What are they thinking about it already, Jamie?
Well, Andy, you talked about what the 51 was doing in practice yesterday. They had gone to a thicker brake pad, and he had problems in braking, locking it up all over the track. Well, Marty Lindley, his crew chief, told me they went back to the brake pads they typically run at a road course, and it fixed, quote, everything. So pretty happy with it, even though he went off course there. They're happy with the speed.
Andy, what I'm seeing is just a little bit of a tight look in that truck, not cutting the corners as good, the front end not wanting to turn as good as Kyle needs it to. That was why he was off the track there in 10, and then he got a little bit wide also up in 2.
And what you're seeing there, what the pace is, and again, it's happening in turn 11 here. A lot of times, if you've got a long-run truck, you've got to take care of those tires. You're going to put a bigger bar in it. You're going to keep that weight on that inside rear tire, and that's going to help get that drive off. So we might not see Kyle have a truck that can come out of the box real fast, but it might be really good on the long run. We'll see here.
There's Parker Kligerman in the 75 with Matt DiBenedetto right behind him in the 25. Kligerman is another one of those drivers that has a lot of road course racing experience, a very good road course racer. In fact, that team really had this race circled on the calendar, and they skipped the last couple of races just to make sure they were 100% prepared for the opportunity they feel like they're going to have today.
Listen to him have to work that throttle. You know how important that is, Andy, when you can't just stomp it down. You got to be careful not to spin your tires.
I mean, you can stomp it down, but your tires aren't going to be happy with you 3 laps into your run. If you want to be still going forward instead of dropping to the back, you've got to be very, very gentle on that throttle there.
Haley Deegan started inside the top 10.
Driving
She
away.
slipped a few positions back just outside the top 10, but solid still in 12th.
And look at that mess behind her. You heard the spotter say driving away. That's what a driver wants to hear on a road course. You don't want all that stuff right on your back bumper.
Absolutely. The way these guys have been single file here and tucked in, I mean, they are showing a lot of patience. We haven't seen any crazy moves yet, knock on wood, but as soon as these guys get into their comfort zone and they get a few laps under them, I think we're going to start seeing some moves, especially right here like we're seeing down into 11.
Yeah, spreading out at the very front, but once you get past about 5th position, it is very tight as you ride on board with defending series champion Ben Rhodes. Winner on the Bristol Dirt earlier this season. Has a road course win on his resume, won at the Daytona road course last year.
Listen to this throttle. These trucks have a ton of horsepower, but you're hearing those RPMs come up so slowly because he's probably not even getting the full throttle before the entrance to 3 there. He's just slowly getting in, and we're on a good point of the tire right now. Another 5-10 laps. That's going to even be a slower progress out there. You're going to hear those revs pick up as guys start to spin the tires, get a little impatient with their pace, and want to go forward.
Tyler Ankrum and Alex Bowman. Ankrum 16, Bowman in the 7. Bowman making his 2nd Truck Series start of the season. Part of the Spire Motorsports effort. He almost won his last start. That was at COTA. It was right there at the end and ended up getting collected.
He's heating Ankrum up right now a lot faster, I think. If he can just get a dive bomb here into 11, he'll get that spot away and drive away.
Good call there, Mikey, and this is the spot to make that move. Put those right fronts right on that paint, hold it a little longer, and you're going to get a good straight shot off this turn 11 here on your run to the start-finish line. I think if we can see Bowman in the 7 clear the 16 here, he'll be in good shape to go forward.
Yeah, he's got the preferred line as they head up the hill, that hard right-hander at the top. See if he can take advantage of that inside road and get around Ankrum. He does just that.
He did not want to give that position up here. 16 is pushing hard. He made a great pickup in qualifying, Ankrum did, and is starting this race very strong.
Yeah, Tyler Ankrum, good road course racer, top 10 in 5 of 6 starts in the Truck Series on the road course. But right now he's got just a windshield full of that 7 truck at Alex Bowman, Jamie.
And 4th right now. The only other Truck Series race he ran this year was at the other road course at Circuit of the Americas, and almost won it in overtime. I talked to him before he got in this truck and said, we had an electrical issue yesterday in practice, but we got it worked out. And he said, and this truck, by the way, much better than my Cup car. I'm ready to have a little fun and go for the win here.
I don't think anybody's counting Alex Bowman out today, that's for sure, even though maybe Kyle Busch or Ross Chastain garner a little bit more favorite headlines. You better not count out Alex Bowman. Running strong in the top 5 right now, early at Sonoma. Tomorrow it's the NASCAR Cup Series continuing here on FS1. Kyle Larson, Chase Elliott, the best of the best, taking the twists and turns of Sonoma. It's the Toyota Save Mart 350, and coverage begins 2 o'clock Eastern on FS1 and the Fox Sports app. While in commercial, we saw Stuart Friesen go around down in turn 11, and Friesen went from 8th, dropped, he dropped all the way back to 20th.
And this is painful, Andy, as he gets down into the braking zone. Maybe a little bit of a wheel hop there as he, you could see the back end hopping around. And then, Vince, this is the longest time ever. He's trying to figure out his best way to get going again. Maybe backing up would have been the right answer. Got plenty of room behind the O'Reilly sign, but he sat there and lost all those spots. Wants to go, but knows better.
Yeah, back in turn 7, I should add. And he's was trying to make that move on Kligerman, and it just didn't stick.
In those situations where you see the gap close that much that late, that's wheel hop or a right front. He did not want to be closing that gap. That's why he turned in early. He was trying to avoid the 75, but then chose to spin it around instead of taking out the 75.
Stay calm, do your job, you'll be fine.
Your team encouraging him to stay calm. It's early, but he lost a lot of spots. That's got to be frustrating for Friesen.
Spotter, maybe Rick Corelli is up on the roof saying, you know, Rick Corelli knows.
He knows about it, doesn't he?
He's a high plains drifter. He's won a bunch of these races, and he's just given some great direction there for Stewart. And Stewart can overcome this. And this is another guy that's had a nice start. You see behind him, Matt Kraft and Todd Bodine, a couple of the trucks he's passed. He's working his way toward the top 20.
How about Carson Hocevar? Started at the back, broken leg, has to, you know, get around on crutches, can barely get in and out of the truck. And how's he doing it? I mean, Hocevar has moved up now 24, so he's gained, what, 12 positions?
He's getting ready to get a 2-for-1, I think, right here, Vince. These guys side by side, they're going to lose their momentum. Can he take advantage of them racing side by side?
When you take off this good and you start making this much progress, that right foot might have been hurting a little bit at the start of that race. Nothing now. That adrenaline's up, and he's not going to want to get out of this thing.
But big picture, is it best for the team to put the replacement driver in just in case? I mean, he started the race, so he's going to get the points for the race.
So there's this logical talk that you have before the green flag flies, and then you see your driver come through, and you probably hear the enthusiasm in his voice, and you see Suarez doesn't even have his helmet on, so there's obviously no immediate plans for him to pit before lap 10 or something like that. I think they'll bring up the subject again as soon as we go yellow or at the first stage. But obviously, Hocevar is turning quick laps and moving through this field, which is tough to do both at the same time.
Look at him hanging it out.
Comfortable. Yeah, he's driving the heck out of that thing.
That's cool. Got around Jack Wood there.
Which is a great idea as long as you don't end up getting in some other sort of accident and then possibly creating a setback for you health-wise that damages your run into the playoffs.
And again, that's where the logical pre-race talk happens. And then when that green flag flies and 42 is on the radio going, guys, I'm fine, we're good. And the crew chief is second guessing that pre-race logic. But, I mean, it has strung out now. You know, the chances for those issues are highest in those first 2-3 laps. So we've probably surpassed that. What we don't want to do is a restart, most likely. So we get that yellow. I think that's probably the wise time.
Good look there at the 75 of Kligerman.
Always good on road courses.
His 5th last year at Watkins Glen. I know a place that you enjoy and know all about. Kligerman's just one of those guys, regardless of what kind of race it is or what kind of vehicle he's in, that guy can make it go.
Absolutely, and Michael can talk to this a lot because he's probably raced against a lot of the guys, different guys in NASCAR that are only in a handful of races a year, but when they come in, do a really good job. And some of those were our pre-race marshals there with Boris Said and Rudeman and
Stephen Parsons started the race on pit road there, and it looks like he's going to be going back. Smoke, another solid run for Majeski. Had those problems last week at St. Louis, but prior to that, 3 top 5s and a top, I think, 13th finish in there as well. So very, very fast truck this year. It's fun to watch Majeski get it done.
How about Daniel Suarez is putting on the helmet, and that's the sign that they're going to make that driver swap between Suarez and Carson Hocevar. So the Nice crew getting Suarez ready to go.
We overheard some chatter about he would go to lap 10. Now, I would be surprised if they didn't pit at the stage break and do the driver change, but maybe the Nice team has a plan and he's only going to run 10 laps.
Well, they might get lucky here as the leaders are just running through some smoke from the 46 truck, who might have lost a motor. A lot of smoke coming through 10, 9, 10, and 11 here.
You wonder if maybe the team saw the smoke from Stefan's truck and said, get your helmet on, Daniel, because if we get a caution, we're going to make this change. So far, clean and green.
Chandler Smith, another one of those drivers out of the Kyle Busch stable, winner earlier this season at Las Vegas.
Love the elevation change. That's the turn 11 club. They put it right by turn 11, which I thought was really
oddly
smart.
enough.
Yeah.
The 46 of Parsons went ahead and pulled off and came to pit road, so still green.
There's the 11 club, or excuse me, the turn 11 club.
And the 42 of Carson Hocevar is on pit road. And here's the driver change.
I'm gonna assume they're gonna lose a lap, but they can still get back into this thing with stage breaks, free passes. They've got a chance to get Carson out and Daniel in.
These, I come from a sport where we have to do these driver changes in 25 seconds. This is absolutely not the kind of car that is easy to do that in, with those headrests and the halos and all the safety equipment that NASCAR mandates for us to have in place, which is a great advancement in the technology. It makes for the driver change to be a little bit quick, a little bit tricky and not easy to do.
How about it, Josh?
Well, yeah, and as Carson was getting out of the truck, he told Daniel Suarez the front drive is perfect in this thing, and then he added, just have fun with it.
Well, that's something that we haven't heard a lot from down in the garage area, that there's a lot of front drive. Most of these guys have been seeking that drive off, so Suarez definitely going to have something to work with here in place of Hocevar.
Yeah, and the leaders went by. He went a lap down. You see the leaders working their way up toward turn 3 and 3A as Daniel sets on pit road. No hurry right now to get anything done necessarily. I don't think they're going to lose a second lap, and then they can just start working their way back into contention.
I don't know if I'd say no hurry. I'd be nervous as heck right now trying to do this under green. Those window nets aren't easy to get up under pressure. You know, if you've ever sat there and watched your guy try to do the 500 pounds of pressure up to that hook, they got to get him out there fairly quick here.
Hocevar's teammate Ross Chastain continues to lead. He's been out front the whole way. We're going to go to break, but keep it side by side from Sonoma.
Laps complete here at Sonoma Raceway for the Truck Series, and there is a new driver behind the wheel of the 42. That's right, Carson Hocevar is out and Daniel Suarez is in. He was on standby as Carson underwent surgery this week to repair a broken tibia. Daniel Suarez has not had a lot of truck experience in recent years. He ran a truck at Bristol Dirt last season. Prior to that, his last start in a truck race was in 2016 at Homestead. Daniel Suarez, obviously a Cup Series regular for Trackhouse Racing, back in a truck today. No road course racing experience behind the wheel of a truck, but today he's filling in for Carson Hocevar, just getting some laps underway for that 42 team.
Back at Sonoma, Camping World Truck Series Racing. You see 6 to go here in stage 1. The driver's switch has been made in the 42 truck, as you see Ross Chastain continuing to lead. Carson Hocevar, with that injury, has gotten out of the truck, and Daniel Suarez has gotten in. The changeover took a little over 2 minutes.
Yeah, I think
2 minutes and 13 seconds. Longer than what they would have hoped, I'm guessing.
It looked like a problem at the end. He was all buckled in, but Josh, the driver change from Carson to Daniel didn't go as smooth as they thought.
Yeah, that driver change didn't go as smooth as you guys wanted. What went into the decision, though, for you to get out at this point?
Just a part of the process. Figured I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to do the full race, and this is what the team and everybody thought was smartest, and I got smarter people around me, and I want to win a championship, and I want to be selfish, and I wasn't going to be at my full capacity, obviously with the crash and then the injury. I wasn't going to be like the 41, even though I really want to be. And sometimes the hardest decision is maybe the smartest one.
Thanks, Carson.
Well, I think it's, as you guys discussed in the open, a very big picture perspective is what the 42 has to do, and they made that decision accordingly.
Yeah, I think Al Neese is a smart man. He said, you know, we know what a talented young racer we have here. We need to make sure we take care of him as best we can. And while it isn't what Carson obviously wanted to do, I think it was the right decision. As you watch Ross Chastain, his teammate, continue to lead Kyle Busch. They're 1-2 so far.
We have seen that lead almost chopped in half. Kyle does have a good long run truck here. Chastain might just be taking care of equipment. I got to tell you, I mean, we all predicted, we all sort of knew it was going to be Chastain, Busch, and Bowman at the front of this field. But the 66, Majeski is doing a really solid job to mix it up with the Cup regulars.
Yeah, what's amazing about Majeski is he has very little road course racing experience, and the races he has run hasn't gotten very good results, but he has been sporty indeed in that 66 for ThorSport today. As you look at Kyle's career numbers and what he has done and amassed here in the Truck Series.
I mean, he broke both of his legs at Daytona in a crash and came back here and won this race. First race back with those injuries. I mean, there's no way we could sit here and explain how talented Kyle Busch is, but that's just another example of some of the special things he's done.
And he has a couple of Cup wins here at Sonoma. And I got to believe the bit is in his teeth a little bit more aggressively today, knowing this is his last chance to win this season in the truck.
You could tell from that overhead shot, right when we went overhead there, Kyle had huge yaw, huge slide coming out. So you could see the tire tracks as he's finally within a second of Ross, and he wants to go forward and get that #1 spot and win this stage. If anything, just to prove a point.
And also with 4 to go, Vince, we're going to have to start watching pit road. There's some drivers that will forego collecting stage points to get track position, so they might would pit prior to the stage ending, like Stuart Friesen. We already seen him lose his track position. This is a perfect example. They said, let's get our pit stop done. When the stage ends, we'll stay out and gain some track position. So watch for others to use the same strategy.
Yeah, if you just tuned in, Friesen was running inside the top 10 and spun on his own and ended up dropping about 12 positions, so he lost all that track position. And here is Ross Chastain, the race leader, coming to pit road, and he even got into the outside wall a little bit there.
That's how these drivers go for it. Vince, they want to be the fastest in anything that you do. And he dove in there a little bit too quick, but he got it slowed down for his pit road speed, Josh.
Yeah, a little hairy for Ross Chastain entering pit road there. Otherwise, he's been happy with that truck. He said it's a little too loose on throttle. It could really use a little more front turn as he comes into pit with 3 laps to go, guys.
And that means Kyle Busch inherits the lead, and it is a comfortable one of a little more than 6 seconds over Majeski.
I'm not sure that strategy for Suarez, or excuse me, for Friesen is going to be, he wasn't close enough to the leader to stay on the lead lap. So that wasn't a good call if he indeed winds up a lap down as he is right now.
I was going to go into exactly that here. So maybe the people that watching at home that didn't get a chance to tune in COTA or aren't too familiar with the road course stuff, you're seeing guys pit 2 laps early because they can without going a lap down. You don't see that happen too much on the ovals, but on the road courses here, if you've got time to be, if you're within a certain delta of the leader, and you're going to figure that out different for each track, you can pit, make that stop, get 4 tires and fuel, and not lose any laps.
Well, there's a sense of urgency for Stuart Friesen because of that strategy. It didn't work out. He's back behind Ty Majeski charging as you look at this battle for 16th, and here comes Kyle Busch. We knew these guys that aren't here for points and aren't running for the championship would use this strategy, and that's exactly what Kyle Busch has done.
Jamie Little is there awaiting Kyle Busch's arrival.
Well, Michael, as you were watching the 51 earlier, you noted how tight he was, and he just radioed to the team, I am tight on the left-handers and the right-handers. So they're going to go up on the track bar here, and it'll be the first time they could put a set of sticker tires on. They only have 3 sets of those in the pit box. They'll make those adjustments. And meanwhile, the 7 of Alex Bowman making his way, and so happy with the truck right now. No adjustments for Alex Bowman on the right-hand side as they work the left side of that truck. Going to be a good battle between these two all day.
Well, this is a break for Stuart Friesen. Those trucks that had lapped him pulling to pit road, he gets around Ty Majeski, and his strategy will have paid off, and he's done just that.
And that's an even bigger break for the 42, who now becomes the free pass car, because if those cars going a lap down, we're going to put in jeopardy a car that's 2 laps down of not getting their lap back at this stage.
Yeah, but there's a lot going to go on in these next 2 laps. He can only hope for the best to see if he indeed stays on the first truck off the pace.
There's Majeski, who has not yet pitted.
That's a big move for Stuart Friesen in the blue truck there, 52, getting around Majeski. And look, the battle for the lead's heating up as we come toward the 1 to go in this first stage.
That's Tyler Ankrum right there behind Majeski. And remember, those 2 drivers running for the championship, and they are battling for not just stage points, but a playoff point to the win, for the win of this stage. And right now, that's in the possession of Majeski.
Stuart Friesen's in a tough spot here, because when you do this pit stop 2 laps before the end, you want to take those 2 laps and be able to take care of those tires and not destroy them before the start of stage 2.
His plan changed dramatically when he lost that lap. He said, I got to go right now or my race could be over. And you can see he's just able to drive away from Majeski, but that's going to tighten things up as Ankrum dives to the bottom.
Block the right, square.
Block the right square.
That's the spotter of the 66 giving him a heads up that he's got a challenge for the lead there, wanting him to get into a defensive position.
He
move to the middle of that track. Oh!
Ankrum is going to challenge. Is he going to get the pass made? This is for the lead and that playoff point with the stage win. Majeski holding him off.
Such a good job by both of these guys. That is a tricky and slippery place to go side by side.
This is good stuff coming to this stage break. Who gets that playoff point?
The 66 has yet to win a stage. This could be his first one.
Ankrum chasing him down toward turn 11.
Both of them on the chip there. Look at the 66, nice and tight. He's trying to get a straight drive off there. He knows the 16 hadn't had a run yet, but his priority is get off that corner, and he did a good job.
And it will be Ty Majeski winning stage 1.
Way to hang on there. Way to hang. Save it.
And what a great run from Majeski, and terrific challenge from Ankrum. Ty Majeski still seeking that first career win. He's got a stage win today. Can he turn that into a race victory? Long way to go at Sonoma.
Stage 1 is complete here for the Truck Series at Sonoma Raceway, with a multitude of drivers pitting there before the stage. Ty Majeski and Tyler Ankrum were battling it out for the stage win. Tyler Ankrum, it's been a rough year for that 17 team. Only 3 top 10 finishes this season. In fact, he has the longest winless streak in the series at 66 races. But when it comes to road courses, his luck has been a bit different. He has top 3 finishes in the last 5 of 6 starts on road courses, and he has 3 straight top 10s on road courses, which is tied for the longest streak in the series. So as far as having a good day for Tyler Ankrum comes, today is as good as any. And with a 2nd place finish here in stage 1, that 17 truck is off to a strong start.
What a beautiful area of the country. San Francisco just about 30 miles away, and the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series coming to visit Sonoma for the first time since 1998. So glad to be here along with Michael Waltrip, Andy Lally. I'm Vince Welch. Jamie Little and Josh Sims down on pit road. Stage 1 is complete, and Ty Majeski was your Stage 1 winner. Now 5 drivers pitted before the end of Stage 1, including Ross Chastain and Kyle Busch, who were running 1-2 at the time.
And they will be resurfacing at the front after these pit stops, Vince.
Down to Josh.
Let's start with the 16 of Tyler Ankrum. He said he really wanted that stage win, but he didn't want to burn his tires off. They're not going to make any adjustments, just get him 4 tires before he heads back out. As far as Parker Kligerman, he said he has trouble with grip out there, something everybody's fighting, and he needs more drive off everywhere, Jamie.
John Hunter Nemechek came in with a similar setup to his teammate Kyle Busch, and now he's saying he needs lateral and forward grip, 4 tires, air pressure adjustments already been made. Actually, a chassis adjustment they just decided on as well. The 66, Ty Majeski just led his first laps ever on a road course. Little tape added to the grill there, won his first stage. Good stop for the 66.
We saw some trouble on that right rear of Nemechek, so he's likely to lose positions on this pit sequence.
Haley Deegan pulls off there. As you see the battle off pit road between Majeski and Ankrum. Looked like Ankrum might have got the edge.
Watch on the right rear. Maybe even a little issue with the jack.
I just don't
initially,
think
right?
Jacked up high enough, Vince. So he had to go back and give it another pump there. As you see, that's what he's doing, and that allows the tire to go back on, and they make that chassis adjustment. But as you said, lengthy.
Lost a couple of positions. The 17 we should mention too, Harrison Burton, one of those drivers getting some extra laps in the truck, who will run the Cup race tomorrow. Hood up, never a good sign.
He pitted under green and, you know, using the track position game, but now they've got other issues.
Stage 2 just around the corner. We're going to take it green when we come back to Sonoma.
Race fans, 22 laps complete here in the Truck Series race at Sonoma Raceway. We are about to get Stage 2 started. A common theme that you see on road courses is drivers looking to gain experience prior to running that race, because something about road courses is that it really puts the control into the driver's hands. The playing field is pretty even out here when you're turning left and right, which is why we're seeing a lot of Cup Series drivers in the field today. Not only do these truck teams want to have experienced drivers behind the wheel, but these guys want to have laps on the track before they have to take to competing tomorrow. Similarly, there are 3 drivers in this truck field today that have already run here at Sonoma earlier today. The ARCA Menard Series West ran earlier this afternoon. Dean Thompson, Colby Howard, and Jack Wood all ran in that race. Colby actually finished second. Now granted, track conditions are a bit different as the wind has picked up and the temperatures have dropped, but track time and experience is absolutely invaluable here at Sonoma Raceway.
Welcome back. Camping World Truck Series racing from Sonoma, presented by Blue Emu. Great to have you with us today. Just finished end of stage 1 pit stop, several penalties. DiBenedetto, uncontrolled tire. Todd Bodine, speeding penalty. Haley Deegan, equipment over the wall too soon. The 44 of Chris Wright, an uncontrolled tire.
They'll all fall to the back now, and it's a battle to get back to the front. And the later, Andy, that you make a mistake, the harder it is to overcome, obviously.
It is. This is a long lap, 1.99 miles, as we heard at the beginning of the day here. That's a lot to do, and this is, you know, on the starts, that's where you got to make up your ground. We hear that over and over again on ovals, on road courses and whatnot, but this place is tough to pass. You've got a couple key braking zones into 11, into 7, and outside of that, it's pretty easy to be wide.
There's just, see the 42 truck. Carson Hocevar started in that truck today. They made a swap over to Daniel Suarez in relief. Here's some team radio at the pit stop.
Because you only get 3 sets for the whole race. They're thinking about getting our lucky dog fuel only until we get back on the lead lap, then give you maybe a little bit of a tire advantage if the caution comes out like midway through that next stage. That's fine.
That's fine, says Daniel, and I love that, Vince. You know, tires are so valuable here. This place is wore out, very slippery. The lap times fall off. He's just going to trundle around. He's going to run back there, stay 1 lap down, try to make sure he's in a position to get the free pass, and then when they do that, they're going to have an extra set of tires.
Do you have the definition for trundle?
It's more of a visual for me. Like, he will not be going as hard as he can.
See that right there? He's trundling.
I gotcha.
That's the definition of
because I didn't envision that being a word that was tossed around in Cheryl's Ford much when you were a kid.
That's probably fair, Vin. But it's a good strategy, a good play, and I'm looking forward. Daniel qualified 8th for the Cup race. He obviously he can drive, he can get it done anywhere in NASCAR, but this road racing is something that he's very, very good at. It'll be fun to watch this 42 truck try to overcome their issues.
I think it would be interesting to see if they try to take a set, if they can get fortunate enough to get back on that lead lap, and if they actually have the set of tires, do they choose to use them?
I think they will. They could at some point, for sure.
Getting ready for this restart to begin stage 2. We saw the 17 of Harrison Burton with the hood up. What's going on there, Jamie?
Yeah, the 17 down on power. They said the engine is just stumbling. They're continuing on right now, but it's unfortunate for him. He's one of those drivers who's never been here before, just trying to log some laps to help him for the Cup ride tomorrow. So they may have to bring it in once again. That's why they're keeping an eye on it.
Stephen Parsons is the only truck out of the race, and congratulations to Phil Parsons, Sheldon Creed. That's Cammie. Phil had his first grandbaby. Look at that beautiful baby.
Love that. Congratulations to Cammie and Sheldon.
That's beautiful.
Yep.
Congratulations to Phil.
Axel Creed.
Yeah.
Didn't go with Toe Link Creed as you had suggested, Mike.
It's going to be its nickname. What a beautiful sight. There's Zane Smith back in the pack a bit. See if he's able to fight through this mess. He's running 24th.
Kyle Busch wasn't very happy with Ross Chastain's start at the beginning of the race. Let's see if Ross gets a good jump here to begin stage 2.
He did.
Oh, he did.
Wonder if that's first gear starting and maybe Colin second, or what did you see there, Andy?
I don't know. Ross's nose was right to the beginning of the Geico restart sign, and he just went. I don't know what you could be unhappy with, but boy, he took off.
Kyle did get a lot better start this time, though, than he did at the beginning of the race.
And there's Alex Bowman clear of the traffic. He's up to 3rd. He's now in touch with our other 2 favorites. Can he do anything with them?
Wow, look at that traffic jam back behind them.
And what about Stuart Friesen? He's able to be in the 4th position after that spin, being a lap down, getting the lap back, taking a free pass, and now he's in the top 5.
We saw Stuart do amazing things on restarts at Coda. Oh, we got some trouble with end finger.
End finger.
Green still out.
That's a tricky spot to be in.
Was running 7th at the time, and again, see all those trucks go by you. That's got to be the most heartbreaking part. You know, you're losing all that track position. Gets it fired up and rolling.
Now he'll hope to recover like Stuart Friesen did, but he doesn't have near the time to do it. Look at that big dive by Kyle. And look.
Oh, he gets Chastain to look in his mirrors there and miss his brake marker a tiny bit, and nice and smooth right on by.
Wow. Kyle Busch to the lead.
That was a textbook looked to the inside, had the other driver checking his mirror, as you said, Andy, and he missed the turn.
That's a very low grip corner with a whole lot of radius, a lot of turning that you got to do there. And if you can light up that right front tire, that thing isn't going to turn into the corner there.
Do you think he yelled Yahoo when he got the lead?
I'm sure he did.
I don't think that's what he yelled.
I don't think they can put that on the side of the truck.
This turn has been tough. You can see Grant got in a bind, got in there a little hot, made contact with Friesen, and around he went.
It's almost identical to what happened to 52. You can see he's in hot. He's got maybe a little wheel hop. He doesn't want to hit his fellow competitor, so he turns in early. That plants the nose on the curb, and around the back end goes.
You saw that view from Ben Rhodes' perspective, and I mean, the track is not that wide. And when you see smoke up ahead of you, and there is Christian Eckes off track, and there is significant damage to the 98. That will bring out the caution.
That is a very unusual spot to be in the wall right there. There was likely contact, I'm guessing. He was running 9th at the time, and I'd love to see that replay. That was such a good truck.
Yes.
Off the truck. And they were so quick, and that looked like something where if he was able to get to that 3rd stage, he'd be in contention there.
See some contact there possibly with Chandler Smith in the 18 truck. He's got damage to his front fender there on the right side. Now,
well, it's just been a series of tough breaks for Christian Eckes, hasn't it? I mean, he finished 2nd last week, and he has had a chance to win so many races this season and has not caught the right break at the right time. And there you see John Hunter Nemechek, a little contact to send in the 98 into the wall.
Yeah, I think the 98 tried to clear himself, and John Hunter said, well, you're not clear, and he left it in there. When you try to block or clear yourself, you subject yourself to whatever your competitor decides to do. Sometimes they'll let you in, sometimes they don't.
And how about this? Daniel Suarez in the 42 getting the free pass.
There we go.
I think they would, I mean, getting back on the lead lap is huge. And I think now they have to come and put on the tires because they got a long way to go, and the laps are winding down, and they need to come get some tires, and he needs to get on the gas.
This was best case scenario for them because we've got so much time left in this stage, it doesn't make sense not to come get those tires.
We'll see if they follow your recommendation, and we'll address it when we come back. NASCAR Camping World Truck Series racing from Sonoma.
Race fans, Jesse Punch here live from Sonoma Raceway. Kyle Busch in that 51 truck is currently your leader as we're under caution here early on in stage 2. Kyle Busch is the all-time winner in the truck series, and this is his last opportunity to pick up a win here this season. You may have heard them mention that. This is his 5th race. Cup Series drivers are only allotted 5 races in the truck series, and Kyle has not won yet this season. It'll be the first time since 2012 that Kyle goes winless in this series if he cannot pull it off today. In fact, every season since, he's had at least 2 wins. Like I said, he's the winningest driver in this series, so he has one more opportunity this year to pull it off. Can the 51 truck do it? Keep an eye on him as he wants it here at Sonoma today.
Back at Sonoma, Carson Hocevar walking on crutches when he's not in the truck, got in the truck to start the race, went the first 10 laps, and then got out, and Daniel Suarez hopped in. It took just over 2 minutes to make that driver swap, and Suarez just finishing up some service on pit road. What did they do there, Josh?
Yeah, well, we talked about the strategy earlier. At the end of stage 1, they just got fuel. They wanted to wait till they got back on the lead lap to get those tires, so they held off on the tires. Well, the caution came out back on the lead lap, so they just came in to get those tires, guys.
There's Hocevar with the headset on, probably doing a little bit of crew chiefing in his own mind, right? And but the good news is they're back on the lead lap.
And I think this truck is going to be coming through the field, Vince. I believe that a lot of progress will be made by Daniel, and he could be a factor to get up there and mix it up with Kyle Busch, Ross Chastain, Alex Bowman, the 3 trucks that have been the best so far.
Hey, while we've got a moment, I just want to mention that I know the folks at ThorSport Racing with a Heavy Heart today. Butch Nyler passed away yesterday, longtime member of the ThorSport organization, one of the first hires, in fact, by Duke Thorson. Retired several years ago, but remained an integral part of the ThorSport family. And I know that anytime you lose a family member, you're going with a heavy heart, and I know those at ThorSport are. But what a great friend of the organization and a great friend of the sport was Butch Nyler. Be terrific to see one of the ThorSport guys take it to victory lane today in Butch's honor, but they've got some work to do. Ty Majeski, highest running of the ThorSport contingent, and he is 6th.
And we just had Christian Eckes be involved in a big crash and
got a little help.
That truck's on pit road.
Tyler Ankrum having a solid effort today.
Yeah, they'll use your right rear for brakes, and then they'll dump you. I've seen it too many times. When you got a guy that's aggressive and he's right on you at the end of the race, as we get to the end, you're better off squaring up your bumper to his nose so he can't do that to you. You follow me? I follow.
That's a lot to take in. You ever think about all that, Andy?
Not only is that a lot to take in, that's hard to do.
I understand you, is what you're saying. Now, let me try to execute that while I'm going 120 miles an hour, right?
He follows, but sometimes it's not up to him, or it's way out of his control where his bumper lines up with the guy behind me.
Eddie DeHaan, the spotter, though, he's seen it.
Yeah,
I mean, he's seen a lot of racing in his years.
He's a spotter for Chase Elliott, so he's seen a lot of races and a lot of wins.
Yeah, he knows what he's talking about. It's tough to apply.
Yeah,
that mentality of that ideology sometimes.
I think it's really interesting, Stuart Friesen's race, though, right? He had that spin, he lost a lap, got it back, and he's racing in the top 5.
I was just about to start talking to him about him when the other action started with Enfinger and the spin in 7 there. He was a big surprise at COTA. His restarts were amazing, and he was part of that mix-up in the last lap there. He was right there, could have done it.
Getting ready for this restart here in stage 2. Just about halfway through, and Kyle Busch and Ross Chastain will restart on the front. In the past, it's been a hotly contested restart. We'll see how Kyle and Ross handle it this time.
Kyle waited much further into that restart zone before he pulled the trigger there and was able to get a full car length and close the door on Chastain to keep the lead here into turn 2.
Ankrum with the move around Bowman. Can he hold on to that 3rd spot? He does as they exit turn 2.
And Bowman getting some pressure from Ty Majeski on his door. Bowman finally secures that 4th position. Hey, this is big for Tyler Ankrum if this should play out and he would stay in the front and have an opportunity to win. I mean, he comes into this race 14th in the playoff standings, 78 points out. I mean, he's in a position where he's going to have to win to get in. And boy, look at Friesen locking him up. Talking about aggressive drive. 52 is on it.
We were just talking about how aggressive he was on the restarts at COTA. Here he is again, side by side through these S's. That's tough. That 16, though, man, the truck looks good.
Yeah,
it looks really good.
Trying to keep pace with those 2 dominant trucks early. Able to drive away from Bowman, who's in the 4th spot.
The 99 of Ben Rhodes Up there around just outside the top 5, right on board with Rhodes now. Taking a look back at Kligerman and Derek Kraus trying to make some move on the outside.
He's tried to make it stick, didn't he? But you could see it just slip out of the groove there late as we hop on board with Ben Rhodes.
They're inside, still clear behind them.
Rhodes came into this race as the regular season points leader with a 17-point advantage over Chandler Smith. So that 99 team certainly wants to make sure they don't do anything to harm that position. A good clean race today for the 99. They would take it.
There's our buddy in the 75. Again, just kind of lurking like he does for the first couple stages before he makes his moves forward. Learning, going well. Parker's keeping the truck clean.
Talked to him yesterday down in the garage area, and he was very confident with the piece of equipment that his team brought him. You talked to Vince about how the team didn't run a couple races, so they thought this was a race they circled on the schedule and said, we can win at Sonoma, and he's doing a great job.
You know, we talked about Ben Rhodes too, Mike, about not wanting to have that, disastrous finish, just have a good, strong finish, keep that regular season points lead. How about Christian Eckes? And we talked at the beginning of the show, just avoid the disaster today, right? If you're in good position playoff points wise, and Eckes' team having to push that 98 behind the wall, he's got a pretty sizable points advantage, but you don't want to, you don't want to waste those and all of a sudden find yourself getting close to that cut line.
Well, that's enough of a loss here today, Vince. He's going to be looking straight over his shoulder to see how this event plays out and what kind of strategy they can use racing forward throughout the summer to get into the playoffs.
How about Zane Smith? He's back in 12th and actually has gained a few positions since that restart. Hasn't exactly been the kind of run maybe we anticipated from him in the 38.
He's kind of rubber banded up and down a little bit. We know he's strong. I'm not sure what put him back, whether that was a bad pit stop or if he just had a little trouble on a restart, but he is cycling his way forward. But like I talked about at the beginning of the show, and like we alluded to with our laps and our stages here, we're not even halfway. There's a lot of racing to go, and we've seen guys go forward and back and forward again, and that cycle can repeat itself all over again, and we'll still have another 10 laps to go.
But look at that bright yellow truck. That's Matt Crafton. I mean, he is mired back in traffic and has not made a lot of progress all day long.
21st, Mike. He is 21st. That's Todd Bodine right behind him, but can't believe Crafton back that far.
Well, and that just tells you how competitive the trucks are, Vince. Right ahead of them is Matt DiBenedetto, a guy I had on my list as someone I thought could win this race, but yet not making any passes or any progress getting toward the front as you see them both dive to the bottom to try to make a move.
On top of that, every truck that is on the track right now is on the lead lap. So you make a mistake and you go to the back, you're going way back. 34 trucks on the lead lap right now.
We talked earlier in the race, and Mike, you talked about the depth of the field a moment ago with Crafton and DiBenedetto, as you see DiBenedetto there in the 25. This field, when you count all of the wins in the top 3 series in NASCAR, 359 wins in our field today. The best field since 2011 when you just count the wins. I mean, all time one of the best fields in Truck Series history.
I couldn't agree more, Vince. And you see Matt DiBenedetto there working up to Lawless Allen. He's on Tanner Gray. I mean, where do you go? That's how tough it is. That's how competitive things are. You try to make those moves, guys block. You just try to get them offline. You see Tanner make the big block there, and Matt DiBenedetto in the Rock Crew roofing truck trying to take advantage of it.
Yeah, I saw Matt in the garage area today, and he said, well, we just missed it in qualifying, but I really think I've got a good truck for the race, and we'll see if he gets an opportunity to show that before it's all said and done. Meanwhile, Kyle Busch continues to run out front. Jamie?
Guys working lap number 10 that he's led so far today. And one adjustment that they made for this particular road course, I talked to his crew chief, Marty Lindley. He said Kyle likes to run a smaller wheel. It's actually 1 inch in diameter smaller for the road course races. So Kyle called him last night and said, did you get it? Because they didn't have it in practice. They went over to the Cup side and borrowed it for him for comfort. So Andy and Michael, what is the benefit of running a little smaller wheel on a road course?
like a 13 or 14-inch wheel. I usually don't get that option. It's whatever happens to be with the team that I'm running with. But I will beg, borrow, and steal to try to get a smaller wheel for anything like that. When you've got a smaller wheel, and you've got a decent enough power steering system, you can make quicker hand movements. And when you're on a place where from turn 7 down to turn 11, the steering wheel is straight for maybe half a second, that's something that you want that ability. And especially as fast as Kyle's hands are, he's got some of the best and fastest hands in the business. If you've got to be really quick if a truck is getting loose here. The smaller that wheel, the easier it is to make faster corrections.
That's right, Andy.
Great explanation.
There's that beautiful 51 truck coming into turn 11, hugging the tires, completing another lap.
Kyle out front, Ross Chastain and company in pursuit.
Currently underway with stage 2 here at Sonoma and the Truck Series. Keep an eye on that 38 truck of Zane Smith, who's currently working his way into the top 10. Zane is the 3-time winner so far this season and has won on the only other road course that this series has run, Circuit of the Americas. I should also mention that he has 9 top 10 finishes in the first 11 races this season, and he leads the series with most laps led, 269. With 3 straight top 10s on road courses, Zane Smith has a great shot at a nice finish here today at Sonoma.
Camping World Truck Series racing from Sonoma here on FS1, presented by Blue Emu. Oh, Matt Crafton going around. Whoa, it's been a tough day for a couple of the ThorSport machines. Saw Eckes get pushed behind the wall after damage, and now Crafton losing a lot of spots.
He's all the way back to 31st, Vince. Was running 20th, making a little progress. See what happens to him here. A lot of action in this corner today, and he could get run over.
Oh, it's our buddy Todd.
Todd Bodine. Well, Todd thought he had an opening there, and
no,
look at the left
look
front.
at the right front.
Right,
yep.
Excuse me.
Yep.
That's going to be a good video for him to show his friend Matt Crafton, to say that he was sorry about that. He just messed up. Doesn't make it any better for Matt, but certainly in too deep was the 62 of Bodine.
Boy, and this frustrating day just gets more frustrating for Crafton. How about the 52 of Friesen? He is at an eventful day as well, but he's up into 7th. And a hot pursuit behind him, Ben Roach. Chandler Smith is in there, locking him up as Friesen again.
That is the 7th lap in a row I've seen him. He needs some rear bias in that truck. You've got, most of the time, most of the teams have a knob on the dash, and you can turn that bias to the rear. His spotter's got to get on with him and tell him to turn at least a half a turn. He might be having some wheel hop problems, which may be why he's going to go forward on that bias, but you keep doing that. If you hit the same spot a few times in a row and flatten that spot, you're going to have cord sticking out of that Goodyear, and that's no good. These are tough tires, but you keep dragging them on the asphalt like that in one spot, it's going to make a hole.
There's the 38 of Zane Smith just behind Friesen and Rhodes, as you see Rhodes make that move for the pass and the position. Made some big changes on that 38 during the pit stop, and I think has tuned that truck up a fair amount, so he has started to gain some positions as Rhodes secures another spot.
Yeah, and every corner Stuart Friesen gets heated up. So he lost that spot. See if he can pick up the momentum as Tyler Ankrum is heating up Ross Chastain for second. Great run for Ankrum.
Thought better. He took the look there just to kind of let Ross know, I got here. I'm here now. Expect to see more of me. But was wise enough to pull back in line, not let the car that the 7 truck get closer to him, and continue this battle later.
What about that last lap around, Andy? 3/10 better was Tyler Ankrum than our leader, Kyle Busch. So not only is he catching Chastain, he's also catching the leader. This truck looks like it's handling perfectly.
I mean, he started really well, so he had a good short run truck, and now here he is with a better long run truck, and that's tough to have at Stewart's Point. To the inside again, showing his nose, not trying to be too aggressive, but just enough to let Ross know. Ross is going to be looking in his mirror a higher percentage of the time than he has for the last 10 or 15 laps, and that 16 is trying to make a move, hopefully staying patient enough. But boy, he's got a truck that could do something here.
Yeah, tip the cap to Scott Zipadelli, the crew chief on that 16, for giving Tyler Ankrum something to work with again today. And we mentioned earlier, Ankrum really good on the road courses, and he's going to get the spot from Chastain this time.
And that was Ross giving him the spot there. That was very smart on Ross's part. He knew, he showed him a nose enough. That was a mature aspect of this race where instead of just battling and letting the 7 get right to him, fall in line, maybe see if the 16's doing something, go to school on him, or if he's just got a better truck, let's just let it go and see what we can do.
That thing is handling, though. He was all over the back of Ross when Ross said, all right, I get it. And so a great move by Tyler Ankrum.
That's quite a statement. He pulled away from a guy that's won a Cup race in the 7 already this year, and he just passed the guy tied for the most amount of wins in the Cup Series this year. And now he's trying to run down and running faster laps, or running about the same laps that last lap with the pass, than the all-time truck win champion of the universe there.
That's
I don't know what the title is. Yeah.
Champion of the universe.
Yeah.
That's a great way to describe Kyle Busch's truck's career. And you can see he has about 4 seconds over Ankrum. We'll have to watch closely and see if he's able to reel him in.
John Hunter Nemechek, he has been working on the 52 of Friesen. We'll see, keep an eye on that battle. We've seen Friesen around sideways. We've seen him locking up the brakes multiple times, and John Hunter hoping to pressure Friesen into maybe a mistake and gain that position here with just 5 to go in this second stage.
Yeah, John Hunter's a little bit better than Stewart right now. You see him ducking to the bottom, see if he can do anything with them. And that's the key on a road course, I think, Andy. Would you agree? You got to be able to stop. Getting that truck aimed and getting the power down, that's what takes the most discipline.
That is big time. I mean, Stewart, he might be in a bit of a mind freak zone right now because he's having trouble with those brakes. But like you said, the focus is get it in, get it pointed, get it off the corner.
Nemechek taking a look and going to get that spot from Friesen, at least that inside position. We'll see if he can stay side by side, and nope, Friesen closes the door again.
That's tough to do because we know John Hunter didn't want to lift last time that happened there.
Well, we saw John Hunter Nemechek uncharacteristically make a mistake last week at St. Louis that cost him trying to put it into a spot that really just wasn't there, and ended up 35th in a destructive points day for him. So I'm sure on his mind that he doesn't want to make that type of mistake again today. Now Chandler Smith, his teammate at Kyle Busch Motorsports, right there on the back bumper of the Ford Nemechek.
I don't know if that was an intentional little shove there. The 18 came in pretty hot, looked like it had a little bit of slip angle under the brake, like maybe it hung a tire, and it's unusual that you'd be putting a bumper to your teammate halfway through stage 2. I
got to tell you, though, I'm never surprised at what we see with these trucks. I mean, they are very aggressive. They know the races are somewhat short, if you will, but they also know that, you know, in a lot of cases, they bring the sponsorship that gives them the opportunity. A nice crossover here by Chandler Smith. But they bring the money that gives them the opportunity to go race. And they're not going to lay over for anybody.
Right, teammate or not, they're going. And we've even seen that inside KBR this year at Atlanta and other places. 18 wants it. He's got a good truck. He wants to go forward.
Chandler Smith into that 10th spot with the pass of Nemechek, as you see back up toward the front. Ross Chastain in the 41 running third, and that's Alex Bowman challenging. A couple of guys that we'll see going to battle tomorrow here at Sonoma as well in the Cup race. Bowman's going to grab that position.
That's a nice move. Getting around Ross, driving away a bit. Maybe we'll see some more pit stops here, guys, as the stage is getting ready to end. Guys are going to come to pit road, forego the stage points. Maybe Kyle Busch does that. Tyler Ankrum will definitely stay out, in my eyes.
Friesen, one of those on pit road, and let's go down to Josh Sims.
Yeah, and we've seen the 52 of Stuart Friesen battling all day, spinning early, going a lap down. He's found his way back up in contention. And those brakes have been locking up a lot on him as of late as he comes in, gets 4 tires and fuel, Jamie.
Zane Smith in the 38, who won at Circuit of the Americas, had really high hopes for this race because road course is his background, but they have not been great, just struggling with lateral grip like so many are. Tight on the right-hander, so they'll fuel him up. 4 tires, and the 4 of John Hunter Nemechek making his way in, just a bit too tight. We're hearing that a lot from these teammates as you see John Hunter rolling off pit road.
Another truck making her way down toward the turn 11 area is Kyle Busch. Will he decide to come to pit road and give up the lead? So many differing strategies on road racing. Teams knowing they got to get off. There goes Busch to the pit road.
And you can make it to the end from here. They do still, all those teams that are pitting now still have a set of tires on the ground for that third and final stage. The 16 of Ankrum, second place is in, Josh.
Yeah.
Yeah, and a strong run for Tyler Ankrum in the 16. He's been getting stronger and stronger as the day goes along. He's coming in to get tires and fuel as well right now. And then we move on to Ross Chastain in the 41. The issue for him has been rear grip, as we saw him fall back several positions. So he just keeps saying, I need more rear grip. Jamie?
Kyle Busch has now led 19 laps today, gives up the lead to pit. One thing I just heard Kyle say, really good. He's happy with the 51 truck.
Well, that's bad news for everyone else, I can assure you.
Well, it's good news for Tyler Ankrum because he was running him down and cut into that lead. I thought Ankrum might stay out and grab that stage win. He decided to pit road. I think he pitted because, Vince, he said, we got a truck, we can win this race. Heck with the stage, let's go win the race. But you see other guys like Ben Rhodes, like Chandler Smith, Chase Purdy, they've all decided to stay out and grab these points.
Well, Ankrum, and as we noted, he has to win the race. I mean, the stage win does him no good, really, if he's not in the playoffs. And to get in the playoffs, Ankrum needs to win. And seems like he's got a truck that's at least capable of challenging for that win today. But he's going to have to beat that driver, Kyle Busch.
That's got to be such a tough thing is your week in and week out. And sometimes you have good trucks, sometimes you have bad trucks. When the day you've got a good truck, Kyle radios in and says, I love my truck. That's going to be a challenge. That's a big mountain to climb right there.
And Rich Lucius strikes again. The crew chief for Ben Rhodes leaves him out. We've seen this 2 or 3 weeks in a row where he's grabbed a stage victory. When the truck wasn't as good as they hoped it could be, he made something out of nothing. And it looks like they're on their way to do that again.
Well, and the stage win is important for Rhodes because he has already locked himself into the playoffs with a win. And this would be his 8th stage win, which is best in the series. And you said Rich Lucius, the crew chief for Rhodes, what a strong decision that has been for Lucius. And it's playing out very nicely for the 99 camp.
Remember, they were running like 20th at Texas, stayed out and grabbed that stage win, just making a lot out of days that they didn't have much speed at least.
And remember, he came into this race as the regular season points leader as well. So not just the stage win and the playoff point, but you get those 10 points for the regular season total. And Rhodes is playing it out to perfection with his crew chief. Great run for the 98, the defending series champion. And Ben Rhodes closing in on the stage win as he navigates turn 11. No pressure behind him. 2 stages complete here at Sonoma. Ty Majeski won stage 1, and Ben Rhodes, his ThorSport teammate, has just won stage 2. Well, if you look at the stage winners, it's a ThorSport kind of day. Can they finish it off, or is Kyle Busch going to take it home?
Stage 2 is complete here at Sonoma Raceway for the NASCAR Truck Series. Quite an interesting top 10 to finish out that stage, as we're seeing pit strategy come into play here towards the end of the stage. Names like Daniel Suarez able to recover for a top 10 finish. He finished 5th in stage 2. Haley Deegan, Kaz Grala both getting stage points. And the Onion, Todd Bodine, rounds out the top 10 with a 10th place finish in the stage, making his 798th series start here today, racing at Sonoma. He's a 2-time series champion, winning back in 2006 and 2010, and with a 10th place finish earlier this season at Darlington, he became the 3rd oldest driver to finish in the top 10 in a truck race. That's right, the Onion is back in the field here today, and he finished top 10 in stage 2.
For the first time since WrestleMania, Roman Reigns steps into the ring to defend the undisputed WWE Universal Championship against the vengeful Riddle. Plus, Madcap takes on Happy Corbin. It's an all-new Friday Night SmackDown, live at Eating Street, 7 Central on Fox.
Welcome back to the DoorDash 250. Glad to have you with us. Michael Waltrip, Andy Lally. I'm Vince Welch. Downstairs on pit road, Jamie Little and Josh Sims. Well, it's been a good run for the 16 of Tyler Ankrum. As you see our stage 2 results, Ankrum pitted just prior to the end of the stage, and that shook up, in fact, he and many others, that shook up that stage 2 result quite significantly. But then the bad news is that when Ankrum came to pit road from his second place position, they had a penalty.
That's a real game changer, obviously, for these teams. Watch the right front here. The changer pulls the tire, and there was a bit of a delay, and the tire got away.
runs back to get it, but it's too late. You can't have equipment removed from the box. Those tires were outside the box.
Such an unlucky break for the 16.
You know, we talked about how fast he was. He was thinking, we're going to win this race. Now we just have to do our best to get back in a position to get a top 5. I just don't see how, no matter how good his truck was, I don't understand how he can get back up to the front.
Josh.
Let's start with the 42, Daniel Suarez behind the wheel of that truck right now. He said he's dealing with an overall lack of grip, and he feels like he's overdriving it just a bit, but he said the most important thing, he's just trying to be careful out there. To the 99 of Ben Rhodes, he was dealing with a slight vibration earlier in stage 2, but he said things got better as they went along, as he was your stage 2 winner, his 8th stage win of the season, Jamie.
And Chandler Smith in the 18 came up 1 spot short at the end of that stage. Said he's lacking forward bite in the right-handers. They went down 3 on the track bar, so a big chassis adjustment for the 18. Little air pressure and 4 tires.
We've seen some significant adjustments down on pit road as these drivers are especially seeking some drive off. We heard that a lot of complaints about that down in the garage area today. Teams just feeling like they just can't get off the corner the way they want.
Just a slippery track, Vince, and these guys are doing all they can to get on it.
It's a little slippery and guys bang into you too. It's hard to keep those wheels.
Hello.
Final stage when we come back.
Quick Sonoma Raceway fun fact for you here, race fans. You may have heard the broadcast mention earlier that this is the first time the Truck Series has raced at Sonoma since 1998. And back in 1998, the driver that reached victory lane was Boris Said. And interestingly enough, Boris is here today, not only making an appearance, of course, at the track where he made such a statement, but he's also here because earlier this afternoon, the ARCA Menard Series West ran, and he's been working closely with one of the ARCA rookies, teaching him the ins and outs of road course racing. Pretty neat to see racing legends passing on their talents and notebook of knowledge to the next generation of drivers.
Cole Custer did not like the way that race ended.
It is Austin Cindric. He sends him wide. Austin Cindric setting the sights towards the checkered flag.
Teammates take one another out.
Zane Smith makes it 4 wide.
Zane Smith wins. Back here at Sonoma Raceway, and how about those finishes to road course races from the past, and maybe setting ourselves up for a similar type finish here today.
Sometime you look back to see what's going to happen going forward, and it's certainly lining up to look a whole lot like some of those great finishes we've seen.
The DoorDash 250, the third and final stage, just about to begin. Ty Majeski won stage 1, Ben Rhodes won stage 2. But we've seen Kyle Busch and Ross Chastain lead the majority of the laps. Busch has led 21, Chastain has led 19, and they are on the front row for this restart. Busch on the inside and Chastain outside in that 41.
We heard communication from Kyle Busch's team. I love my truck. That could be bad news for the competition. We know how talented that guy is.
As quick as that 41 truck has been on starts, it obviously fell off at the end of that run there. Hopefully they were smart enough to make some changes for this start, but that's 66. Just like first stage, he's got the bit in his teeth again. He's coming.
Yeah, Ty Majeski there in third, Alex Bowman behind in fourth, and Parker Kligerman starting to work his way up inside the top 5.
Look at that big dive into the corner. Bowman swings wide. Kligerman's there. A little bit of contact.
Crazy thing happens when we get into the third stage of trucks on road courses, and these guys just turn it up a little bit more.
John Hunter Nemechek in the 4 and Zane Smith there in the 38. Inside the top 10 as well.
Zane's had a workman's day. He's just been clawing all day long, coming from outside the top 20 to make his way into the top 10 here in the final stage.
Well, Chris Lawson and that crew chief, they have really gone to work on that truck, trying to get it better each stop, and I think they've improved it. We'll see if it's good enough.
Ben Rhodes, our stage 2 winner, marred back in the 17th position. And we talked about how important stage points are and playoff points are. Sometimes on a road course, it's almost impossible to win a stage and then go ahead and win the race because of the strategy other teams use.
And especially at Sonoma Raceway here, where it's tricky to pass. Look at this. We're normally not racing this late in the day here. That sun is right in your face. If you're on flat ground, no big deal. But when you're heading up a hill like you are into turn 1 and into turn 3, that's right in your windshield there.
Sprinkle in a little dust. Somebody right on your tailgate. It gets very difficult real quickly.
Go with the O2. Go with the O2 right
And
here.
it is tight back in the pack as you see Rhodes continue to negotiate just inside the top 20.
Lawless Allen's crew spotter telling him there, be smart, work with them. Top 20 run for Lawless. Good day for those guys so far.
Little further back right there to the 38's making a move on the 4 into 11 here. That's our action for the only passing going on right here. There it is. Holding that bottom. Man, he's in that throttle pretty quick, pretty hard. We heard some of these guys later in the runs not able to put the power down, but that 38's putting the power to the ground there. Probably better than most of these guys ahead of him.
Kyle Busch is not able to drive away from Ross Chastain. We saw him have a big lead last run, but not this time. He's keeping pace with that 51 truck.
Both Kyle and Chastain, they're both used to working on their trucks, cars, through their races here, whether it's road courses or ovals. You've got to be on top of that. That's what's not just being a fast driver and being able to wheel the heck out of it. You've got to leave enough bandwidth in your brain to record what's going on in that truck so that you could tell your crew chief, so when it's time for that last stage, that third stage, you can have the best truck under you that you've had all day.
Man, that was my problem. No bandwidth.
No bandwidth in reserve.
Of all the things that bit me, it was the bandwidth.
How about Ty Majeski, Jamie, continuing his solid run?
Vince, he just continues to exceed expectations week in and week out. And I talked to him before this race. He said, I've raced twice on a road course in a truck, 32nd and 30th. He said, but I'm optimistic about today because I have to manage tires. That's fun for a driver. I just checked in with the team, and Joe Shear said, other than being a little bit tight, we're good. All they made was an air pressure adjustment on the last stop.
Everybody has one set of tires remaining as well, and the question becomes, when do you put those on here in the final stage?
I think you save those for testing right now. This is a track position game most likely from here on out. And you know, one thing that's impressive about that 66, in addition to the speed, in addition to his lack of result and time and experience on the road courses, is that truck is clean. No dents, no bangs, nothing on the rear bumper, nothing on the front bumper. He stayed out of trouble, even though he has cycled through the pack here through these stages, and now finds himself in a great spot.
Yet.
Haley Deegan there.
As of now, yeah.
This is a battle for about the 21st position. Josh Balicki's driving the 30 truck today, and he's having a good run inside the top 20. And look at this mess, though. You know, we talk about how tight it is up front. There's these guys and girl are all over each other, and they're maybe the fastest truck on the track before that pit road penalty. Tyler Ankrum stuck right in the middle of this hornet's nest.
And boy, does he have to be patient here. If you've got a good truck, you just can't run these guys over and expect not to have some sort of retaliation or it go wrong. It's tough when you're running right on the back bumper of all these guys and you know you've got something better. You've still got to be patient because of how tricky it is to race and pass at Sonoma.
Looked like a tire rub there on the right front of the 62 of Todd Bodine. We'll see if that develops into something more serious. But for now, it's Kyle Busch up front. A whole pack of trucks chasing him.
Truck of Todd Bodine you see spinning there coming up the hill in turn 4. Like I said, green flag still out as he was able to get out of the way of the rest of the field, but definitely losing some track position here as the laps tick down in this race. Laps to go in this race, and the two drivers up front have a lot on the line. We've seen a lot of different strategies play out here as we enter stage 3, but for Ross Chastain and Kyle Busch battling it out, the only thing they're focused on here today is a win. I mentioned earlier that Kyle Busch is trying to keep a 10-year win streak alive in his final truck race of the season. Well, Ross Chastain has a lot on the line today too. This is his 100th series start, a 4-time winner here in this series. If he could win in his 100th start, it would be huge for that driver. And interestingly enough, other drivers who have won in their 100th start include Kevin Harvick, Ron Hornaday Jr., and Johnny Benson. Could Ross Chastain add to that very, very interesting statistic? I guess we'll find out. Less than 20 laps to go here at Sonoma.
goes on FS1. It's the Philadelphia Stars taking on the Pittsburgh Maulers. That's tomorrow, 7:30 Eastern on FS1.
That's my favorite team, the Maulers. They just sound bad, don't they? Ugh.
Speaking of bad news for Matt Crafton. He is on pit road with an issue.
Bad day for Matt Crafton. No speed. Got run into, spun out by his buddy, and now you see the gloves onto the dashboard. It's over for the 88.
You know, if I'm going to have a day where my engine blows up, it might as well be when I was running 20th instead of when I was leading.
While we were away, the 62 of Todd Bodine had an issue as well. Got a little help from Dean Thompson in the 40 truck.
Dean just brings a little bit of speed in here, gets hooked on him, and kind of can't get off him right there, but then just chooses not to get back out of it and just sort of finishes him off and spins him over the top of 3A there.
Chose not to get out of the gas. That's an option.
Yeah.
But you remember those things.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of action. There goes Bodine around.
Did not bring out the caution, however. In fact, we've only, I think, other than the stage breaks, only Christian Eckes incident brought out a caution. Eckes, who came into this day 6th in the playoff standings behind the wall. Now we've seen Matt Crafton, who came into the day 9th in the playoff standings. He has gone behind the wall as well. So a couple of our playoff contenders with issues. Carson Hocevar got out of the truck at lap 10 because of that injury. Daniel Suarez is in his truck now to finish. And Ross Chastain in the 41 runs second.
Everybody's pretty singled out. I mean, I don't really see any cautions coming, but that's if it's not about how I can go faster, we can be a little quieter, buddy. I'm all for helping me go faster, though. Yes.
So sometimes the drivers don't want to hear.
A little bit of frustration in his voice there. He probably doesn't like seeing the car in front of him get smaller as he's driving away there, as he's trying his best and working and sweating his butt off in that truck. Obviously a little frustrated that he's not making the day end up as much as he wants. It's a little bit of resolve right there, and just knowing that that 51 is on the move. Yeah, those guys are trying to help.
And he can't shake the 66. He knows there's trucks right there on him, and including the 7 of Bowman, Majeski. One slip and Ross will lose second spot.
And that could happen. And this is a tough place to drive a perfect lap. It's so slippery. We're late in the day. This track is sun-soaked, meaning we've got a lot of track temperature in it. We're probably just at or just past our peak in our track temperature. We haven't seen a cloud over this track in like a month, so it just hasn't cooled off at all.
And it's been baking in the sun all day long, so every lap that goes by, it just gets slipperier and slipperier, and managing all that is something that's a very big challenge for these drivers.
And you can't see grip most of the time. So there's adjustments you're making as a driver. Like we see Kyle Larson is probably one of the more unique ones, where most of the time he runs up against the wall in the oval, and you're like, man, how does he do that? You watch him in turn 11 here, and he's got the tightest, lowest line coming off that corner in the Cup Series. We're seeing some of the truck guys adapt to that late in the run, looking for that drive off and to get the better lap time and get that run to start finish to be able to potentially make a move into one.
I've been so impressed with this guy, Zane Smith. We talked earlier how he was marred back outside the top 20, just making progress all day long. On a day when it's easy to run into somebody, get spun out, turned around, we haven't really seen anything go on around Zane other than just working his way forward. Great run by the 38 truck.
Well, and Zane Smith, remember, he won at Circuit of the Americas because those drivers in front of him all got together, including Kyle Busch, all who were racing for the win, got together, opened the door. Zane Smith went through and won. So it literally is never over until it's over, especially in this sport, because you never know when you might get a late caution that could create overtime or a restart to determine a shakeup, even if you've got a handy lead like Kyle Busch currently does of almost 2 seconds. Alex Bowman finally getting around Majeski for that third spot.
That's a good move for Bowman. See if he's got the speed to run up there and do anything with Ross, who's the next truck ahead. These trucks are basically breaking even on lap times, Vince. Last time by, Bowman was a little bit faster than our 2 leaders, and that enabled him to get around the 66 truck. Let's see if he can go up there and do something with the 41 of Chastain.
we saw this early in the race too. Bowman kind of sat back quiet, and in the last few laps of the stage started making his move. This is the time. I mean, we've got 16 laps remaining in this race. He's starting to go forward here. Big battle between the 52 and the 25. De Benedetto and Friesen. Friesen leaves him a little bit of room out of 4.
This could be that caution we were talking about. If you look at these two, and right there is Chandler Smith as well. And you know, Smith isn't always the most patient, and when he's got a fast truck, he's looking for somewhere to go.
We saw the 18 put a bumper to his teammate a few laps back. He's definitely not going to be shy about putting it to someone that's not under the same tent here.
And there's John Hunter right behind Chandler, so he logged away within his bandwidth that bump from Chandler Smith, and maybe it comes back the other way.
That's 7th through 10th right there.
Isn't that fun, seeing that thing sliding out there? And then this is a great area to really attack, as you see Chandler do on the outside. Oh, no!
Oh,
wow.
You could see it. You could see it coming.
That could cause a caution because of those tires being knocked out of whack. They were racing for the 7th spot. It looked like maybe Stewart just tried to pin him down, and Matt said, I'm not having any of that.
He was doing one of those things where he tried to line up his rear bumper with his front bumper, and they just ran out of room and found those tires there.
Right on cue with our Camping World 15 to go.
Stewart Friesen has been a human highlight reel today. Everything that could go wrong has gone wrong for that truck, and let's see what happens here. They dive into 11, and Stewart tries to cut off Matt De Benedetto, I think. And Matt couldn't see where he's going. He dove lower and hit those tires.
And the caution has come out.
I always wondered what would happen to those tires if you ran over them like that, Vince.
Hey, everybody's got a set of tires left. Do you come and get them, or do you stay out and keep your track position?
I think if you're up front, you pretty much, and then I was wrong earlier about Tyler Ankrum. I said he was going to stay out, and he did it. So I'm not a crew chief. We just love to see the innovative thinking that the crew chiefs use. Where would you think, Andy, if you were saying, say you're back there where Zane Smith is? You can't pit if you're not. If you're in the top 10, you can't pit, can you?
I was listening to Larry Mack last week when we were at Gateway, saying that he had already loaded up the truck.
Yeah.
On his way back. That's exactly where I'd be right now. You want track position here, and I'm not bringing my guy in. I think we're going to see maybe 10th on back, take that chance, but your boys up front, nah.
Yeah, there's some activity down on pit road. We have a good view of the pit from the broadcast booth. You can see people putting tires into position, but that could be a pump fake too. You never know with these teams. Like I said, very innovative, very secretive. They call their plays with code words like Omaha, George Washington.
There is fall off, and there is gain with the tires. It's just a matter of how much. And Marty Lindley there, the crew chief for Kyle Busch, trying to decide what they need to do. Take a side-by-side break. You won't miss a thing.
$15 laps to go here at Sonoma Raceway, and the caution is out, which means track position is about to shake up tremendously. But I should note right now that running fifth is Parker Kligerman. This is his 5th run this season. 3 of those have been top 10 finishes. Parker is pretty decent here on road courses. As history has it, he's finished top 10 in 3 of 5 road course starts, and he has 2 Sonoma starts here in the Cup Series. Now, I did say the caution is out and track position is going to change greatly, but pretty good run today here for Parker Kligerman.
Back here at Sonoma, where your leaders here have come into pit. Let's start with the 41 of Ross Chastain, saying he needs more grip. He's going to get fuel and 4 tires. Moving on to the 75 of Parker Kligerman. He said the same thing. Anything you could do to give me more rear grip, do that, as he gets tires and fuels as well, Jamie.
And Alex Bowman, the big question all day was, when do we pit for that last set of sticker tires? Bowman saying he's just a little freer that run, no adjustments, 4 tires, and that's it. The 51 of Kyle Busch says he's pretty good, but it takes 3 laps to come to him. He said, let's go back a little bit on an adjustment from earlier just to help me fire up against Ross Chastain here.
Very interesting. Coming to get those last sets, and 3 drivers stayed out. You've got the 99 of Ben Rhodes, the 19 of Derek Kraus, the 61 of Chase Purdy.
It ain't going to be Purdy for those 3.
They needed more to stay out, did they? I mean,
I'll tell you that, Vince. I wish that everybody behind our first 3 guys had said, we're going to stay out and take our chances, and trapped Bowman and Busch and Chastain in the back, but it didn't happen. We'll see how it plays out.
This is exactly why I'm not a crew chief also.
Well, let's get an idea of what the 99 crew's thinking.
How slow were our lap times at the end there compared to the start of the run?
Less than a half a second, that's why I stayed.
Yeah, I love Rich Lucius. We talked about it earlier. He's a magician on pit box. He's not afraid to take chances. He left his guy out there. Do I think this is going to pay off? No. I think they are sitting ducks. But the fact that we had 3 guys stay out, this could create some drama on the restart. I don't know if you remember back a week ago, Vince, but there was a little bit of controversy around our buddy Ross Chastain with his aggressive style.
You don't say.
This gives him a great opportunity to put his nose somewhere that others wished he hadn't have, and mix things up on this restart.
No doubt in my mind, that's exactly what we're going to see. Coming back for the finish at Sonoma.
The field is preparing to take the green with 13 laps to go, 12 to go when they take this restart. On the front row, 2 Cup Series regulars, no longer on the front row are 2 Cup Series regulars, and I should note starting 3rd is the 19 of Derek Kraus. He led a few laps last weekend in Portland, and he has a season best finish of 7th last week at Gateway. Led laps last week at Gateway, season best finish last week at Gateway at 7th. As far as road course racing goes here at Sonoma, he does have some ARCA West starts, 3 to be exact, with a best finish of 5th back in 2017.
Getting down to the nitty-gritty here at Sonoma. 11 to go when we take the green, and 3 drivers that stayed out. Ben Rhodes, Derek Kraus, Chase Purdy, they're up front, but so is Kyle Busch starting in row 2 with 4 fresh tires.
I'm glad they stayed out. It was going to make it thrilling to see how Kyle gets through them. If he goes around them or through them.
Yeah, good jump for Rhodes. Kraus trying to secure that 2nd spot from Kyle.
Too much grip there. He's going to be able to have real good drive off here and be in decent position into 3.
What does Chastain do? He's back there in the mess.
By the way, Alex Bowman, who was up there contending for the win too, had a pit road penalty, so he has to start at the back as Kyle maneuvers on Rhodes, trying to gain that inside position. Can't get it for now. Oh, Ben locks him up, and Kyle's going to get the spot. Oh, and around goes Kraus.
Some contact there from, was that Haley Deegan that got into him?
Still green, and Kyle Busch out front with Ben Rhodes now in 2nd.
All trucks moving again. At the break, Michael said Kyle will be in the lead by the apex of turn 7, and that's right where he got it.
Yeah, you had to know it was coming. The only problem that I have too now is like his hottest pursuers. Ross Chastain, the pit penalty by Bowman, and now Majeski trying to fight his way up there. Kyle's got a big gap now, and it's only going to get bigger.
Yeah, Chastain is back in 8th, and he has been the closest pursuer throughout the course of this race today. But it has been a race that Kyle has really dominated when he has been out front. He's led 34 laps.
Yeah, that's a big gap for the Cup regulars to make up during this. But this is Majeski. This is his shot here.
Oh, this could be a
little
caution.
Dirt tracking for Haley Deegan, and that is bringing out the caution.
Yeah, I'm fine.
Unfortunate for Deegan. Qualified in the top 10 today, and it's been a challenging afternoon for her, though, once the race got started. All the way in the back, the top of the screen.
I thought I saw her with some contact, and she just loses a right rear tire there. And so I think when the truck went around up in 7, must have clipped her, and eventually the tire failed.
That's a horrible place to have a right rear tire fail. There's no tire wall. There's no safer barrier there. That's quite a wallop.
She was fine, though. We heard her talking to her crew. She wasn't sure what happened, and it doesn't look like that right front's down. I don't know. Doesn't look like the right rear's soft.
Right front is down, but I think she's going to be able to make it back around. And it's going to create a little drama with this restart with Kyle Busch and Ben Rhodes. And here's how Kyle got the lead.
And Ben went for it. He's like, I got to get down in this corner, and the tires just wouldn't stick, and Kyle was able to drive through on the inside. Ben does a nice job keeping that 2nd position there because he was well out of the groove. Is that the clip? No.
On board with Rhodes.
Such a helpless feeling, isn't it, when you go sliding into the braking zone?
You hear that first clunk. If you guys rewind that, who's ever got a DVR at home, you hear that first clunk. That's the gear. He gets out of the he gets out of the brake and then jumps back on it, and it locks up the fronts. Worst case scenario there. You hop the rear, you're going to send it too deep in the brake zone, and then it's not going to turn because the front tires are locked up.
Well, and Derek Kraus got spun around as you get the good look from Zane Smith's bumper.
Keep on, keep down. To your left.
So a tough break from Kraus, losing all that track position as well. But Zane Smith, the truck was not very good early on, and they have just made their way back up through and into contention into the top 5.
Well, what about the job he did last week in the Cup race? Hopped into Chris Buescher's number 17 and drove it to a 17th place finish. Amazing talent this young man has, and we see it in the truck racing every weekend, but that, never having been in one of those cars before, as different as they drive nowadays, to be able to get a top 20, very, very nice work by Zane Smith.
Yeah, I think it confirmed what everyone believes about Zane and his future. Now, this guy's future and present is pretty impressive, but Kyle Busch has not won a Truck Series race this year. In fact, it's the first time since 2012 that he has not won in the Truck Series. As you see his results so far this year in the 4 races that he has completed, he only gets 5, and that's making this one all the more important for him to finish the job from the front so he can at least get that one win, not just for him and continue that streak, but for his team, Kyle Busch Motorsports, and the 51 and the Owners Championship.
Well, the 51 has been lightning fast everywhere we go. 2 wins for Corey Heim.
One last week at St. Louis. More on the 51, Jamie.
We talk about that streak of winning each season. The last time he went winless in a season was 2012, and I asked his crew chief, Marty Lindley, about that. He goes, oh man, I'm well aware of it. He said, I do not want that hanging over my head. We must get the win today.
I can only imagine. That's it. You know, it's nice to have Kyle in your truck, but it's a lot of pressure to have Kyle in your truck as well. Not just because he's immensely talented, but because he's the team owner. You got to perform for the boss. One more break, and we're going to race to the finish at Sonoma.
Final laps here for the Truck Series at Sonoma Raceway. Heading into this race, the worst start by a road course winner in this series was 15th. And that was Boris Said at Topeka back in '99. Well, as we're getting ready to take the green here, Ben Rhodes is on the front row in that '99 truck, actively battling for a win. And he started this race today 17th. So keep an eye on Ben Rhodes. He might not only getting a win here today, but also making some history in the series.
Back at Sonoma, coming to the final laps here as we take a look at today's Blue Emu race summary. Kyle Busch has led the most laps, 37 of those.
Look at him tighten it up.
Restarting on the front row. Ben Rhodes and Kyle Busch. Kyle getting the jump. Chandler Smith for a second. Rhodes trying to hold on to third, but he's under challenge by Majeski. Zane Smith right there as well.
Very important for that 66 to be able to get around the 99 on old tires there. 18 really making a... Where do you come from? I mean, he's been running good all day, but not there.
Tire down.
Oh. That's Ben Rhodes.
Like Ben Rhodes.
On your right, still on your right, top of the three.
Communicating that he's got a tire down. Meanwhile, Kyle Busch and Chandler Smith lead the way up front. A couple of KBM trucks, so not only is Kyle eyeing that first win, but he's got one of his trucks running second. But Ty Majeski not giving up, and Zane Smith, they've continued to work on that 38. Credit to Chris Lawson and company, the crew chief there. He is up into fourth. John Hunter Nemechek fifth. And how about Daniel Suarez? subbing in for Carson Hocevar. Hopped in the truck with after the first 10 laps that Hocevar ran. Fell a couple of laps down.
And right now
has
trying
gotten
to push
himself
his way into 5th.
Absolutely, what a run.
4th place is right where the 38 was sitting at the end of the last road course race that these guys were at. And he benefited pretty well just from being smart and being in the right place at the right time there. But this is it. 6 to go. These guys are on now. There is no more. That shot that we saw from the onboard camera looking back was 3 trucks all nose to tail pushing each other right through the apex of turn 11 there.
But remember, even if there's a caution from something that happens back in the pack, they got to restart at the front again, and that's going to put Kyle Busch's lead in jeopardy. Maybe Chandler Smith gets a shot at him, or maybe it's a Ty Majeski or Zane Smith that steps up in there and gets that win. And we saw that at COTA.
I'm just really impressed with Chandler Smith. He's matching Kyle's lap times. He's not getting away from him. And look at all this action you talked about, Vince, back in the pack. Somebody goes around, we get to do it all again.
How about Chandler Smith, Jamie?
I talked to Danny Stockman before this race for Chandler Smith. He said, we're coming in here with a totally different mindset. We're looking at the regular season points. We want to win the championship, and if we start racing now for points till the end, we can do it. Right now, as he runs, he is the point leader by 9 over Ben Rhodes.
Yeah, it's been a big swing today. It's a 26-point swing in that battle for the regular season lead, Jamie. Great point as you see Rhodes with an issue, Kyle getting around.
We saw in the background there the 38 got around the 66. Oh, a big one on the front straight here.
And Bowman's involved. The 30.
Stuart Friesen, caution out. And we're going to have that restart we were talking about.
Josh Bilicki was the 30 truck involved. There's Friesen to a stop. Look at the damage.
Heavy damage on that Bilicki machine. Window net down, and typically that's the indication from the driver. You see the window net down in the 52 as well, letting the AMR safety crew and NASCAR officials know that
that was a big hit. They moved the wall down in turn 1.
This could necessitate a red flag. The wall being punched back.
Friesen climbing out under his own power.
That's been an eventful day, hasn't it, Vince, for Stuart Friesen? Everywhere we looked, action was all around him, and that action there took him out. Inside of 5 laps to go.
So Kyle Busch, Chandler Smith, Zane Smith, Ty Majeski, Ross Chastain filling out the top 5, and Parker Kligerman there in 6th. They're going to have to restart and battle wheel to wheel again at least one more time to determine the winner here today, as Friesen's truck will be put on the hook, and the same for the 30 of Bilicki. Both drivers have gotten out of their vehicles and be taken to the infield care center to be checked out.
The field creeping by here, led by Kyle Busch.
You see the 99 of Ben Rhodes there, but he had just come off pit lane and merged in there between Kyle and Chandler.
Yeah, and that's a good thing.
He's a lap down.
For Chandler, I think that this caution comes out. I mean, there's nothing good about a big crash, obviously, but for Chandler Smith, it gets Rhodes out of the way. He was going to be between the two, between he and Kyle Busch, and now he's going to be gone, getting back on the lead lap around and on his way up toward the front, or back to the end of the field, and this will give Rhodes another shot at it. Excuse me, Chandler Smith another shot at it.
You saw the 7 of Alex Bowman, the heavy damage to that truck. Remember, he had gotten that pit lane penalty, which had put him back in the field. So there's Bilicki. Looked like Friesen got into the back end of him. Boy, that's a hard hit for that 30.
That is a bad angle. But again, we saw Bilicki climb out of that truck. That is a massive testament to the safety that NASCAR mandates and the bar. I mean, watch the angle here. The biggest thing you're always worried about in the crash is the angle that you're going into the wall. And this is practically 90 degrees right here. Big hit. Those Hans devices, those roll bars, those door bars, those seats especially, let him walk away from that with probably nothing but a bruised ego.
Lawless Allen got some damage in there as well. We mentioned the 7 of Bowman.
That pit road penalty. Pit road is so critical of having a clean day. And obviously the penalty for Bowman put him in a position to get damage in that crash.
I mean, that was a truck that could have won the race.
Easy.
So this is kind of takes us back to COTA, right? I mean, Kyle Busch seemed like he had that one in hand, and all of a sudden a late race caution means that we have to restart. What, Kyle led, I think, 31 of the 33 final laps at COTA, but then we had that overtime, ended up losing the lead in that wheel-to-wheel and some contact, and Zane Smith got by. So we're going to have a similar opportunity for the field, battling with Kyle again. Here it is.
12 wheels is better than 4 kind of situation there.
And Zane Smith couldn't believe what he saw. Drove right around the 3 leaders and off to victory lane.
That's one of those moments where your heartbeat races and everything that you've dreamed about in these crazy situations is actually happening. And now you have to keep calm and bring that thing home, stay on line, but still drive fast enough that you don't get run over.
Here's Zane Smith sitting peacefully, and you may wonder what might be going through his mind.
We had the 66 running P3 here, but made a little bobble coming out of 10, just like we saw a lot of guys in qualifying. Just drops wheels, and that gives Zane the avenue to outbrake and get the nose under him coming into 11 here just before the red flag.
And that's going to put him on the inside of row 2 with a chance to push Kyle Busch out of the way if he chooses to do so. We know how aggressive the truck racers are. And what will he choose to do? Look at those trucks up front all bent to pieces.
Well, it really makes it important for Kyle to get a good jump at the start too, doesn't it? And gap the challengers a little bit, give himself a little bit of freedom so they can't get to him to move him.
But I don't see Chandler Smith going anywhere. He was able to match Kyle's lap times in those couple of laps before this big crash. So he's going to be there, and then right behind him, Zane will be on Kyle's bumper.
Just a little note, because I know sometimes at home people are wondering why we're yellow or why we're red. We are red because the 30 hit the wall so hard on the front straightaway that they actually moved it. And they are out there with a forklift now trying to get it back in position so that we can run a safe finish to this race.
Second place, Chandler Smith.
You're doing a hell of a freaking job, kid. Holy smokes, you're doing a hell of a job. You're pretty much matching his lap time, maybe a 10th off, but you guys are about a half second better than anything out back. He's getting damn lucky. He's cautious to save his big picture, right? Big picture.
I like his attitude. I'll get him. He's lucky there's a caution, or I'd already have him. That's the young kid.
That was the attitude toward the boss right there. I don't know. Kyle's been looking pretty strong.
Well, it's been a wild one. Daniel Suarez jumped in relief of Carson Hocevar at lap 10. Took him a couple of minutes to get all buttoned up and everything, and Suarez fell a couple of laps down. Eventually has made his way back up into the top 10. Stage 1 was won by Ty Majeski in that 66 truck for Thor Sport, and then Christian Eckes, speaking of Thor Sport, and into his day with heavy damage. Ultimately had to go behind the wall, but his teammate Ben Rhodes stayed out when others pitted, and Rhodes collected the stage 2 victory. And then Stuart Friesen, who has had a full contact day, had a little help from De Benedetto, and then Haley Deegan when the tire went down, and a big hit for her. And then most recently, Balicki and Friesen. Lawless Allen in that 45. Alex Bowman in the 7. Damage as well. But Friesen is done, and I'll tell you what, it's been a tough day on some of these playoff drivers. Friesen, Eckes, Hocevar, Crafton. You look at our Blue Emu race summary. Kyle Busch has led the most laps, but he's got work to do if he's to finish this thing out.
A very eager and ambitious Chandler Smith is running second and thinks he has the boss's number. Let's see if we can get a word with Chandler. Chandler Smith, Michael Waltrip and the Fox Boys, you copy?
Yes, sir. What's going on?
Man, we're watching a heck of a finish here on the road course in Northern California. You sound pretty confident about that 18 truck. You going to go give it to the boss?
Of course I'm going to go give it to the boss. Before we had the meeting to come out here, I told him just kind of jokingly, I was like, dude, I'm going to whoop your tail when we go to Sonoma. I just want you to know that, like, mindset-wise, I know I'm just going to kick your tail. So it's kind of funny that I made my way up here in general. I mean, we haven't been running that great all day, and somehow I'm in second. But I'll take it. I'm really happy with my safe flight Autoglass Toyota Tundra. We've been chipping away all day, so let's finish it off.
I heard Danny Stockman say, you know, you're matching his lap times. We see that as well. Is there a bet that you're going to lose if you don't beat his tail? You got to clean windows again, or what's happening?
I just get to tell him I told him so. And then, yeah, that's about it.
All right, buddy. Finish it off. Thanks for talking to us.
See you, Mikey.
See you, Chandler. Jamie, you with the crew chief?
Danny Stockman, gotta love the back and forth on the radio between you two. We heard you say you feel like you guys have a shot at it here. Danny, what does he need to do to beat his boss here?
He just needs to execute, and he's about the only one that knows where he's better and where the boss is better. So it looks like we're going to have a green-white checkered when we go back here. These guys have worked their tail off all day on this truck. We started the race really far off and just kept chipping away at it, and about halfway through the race we made an adjustment that he really liked and business picked up. So we're in position. We've been trying to collect stage points with where we're at in this points championship chase. It's really big to get points and try to win this regular season championship going into the playoffs. So he's done a hell of a job. Our truck's really good right now, and I think we're going to give him a shot.
We talked about the points right now. You are the point leader, so good luck.
Well, that's the 18 perspective. How about the other side of the KBM camp with the boss's team, Kyle Busch?
Derek, I'm going to say 18's going to be really aggressive right here. You think?
I think so, after that conversation. Don't you, Vince?
Absolutely. And if I'm Kyle, I don't want it any other way. I mean, that's what you want from your young drivers, right? I mean, within reason.
Absolutely. Couldn't say it better. I mean, he knows what to expect. He's been in this situation before. I think Kyle, when he's leading a truck race, is almost expecting a red flag with 3 to go to throw a monkey wrench and everything. This is just, they don't make it easy on him. I mean, we referred to his other 4 races that he didn't win. Those races are a 2nd, 2/3, and a 7th. That's a great year for almost any other driver, but this guy's disappointed, obviously, because we're trying to keep a streak going, and he likes winning. And especially when other kids have been winning in that same truck.
Well, the pass for the win the last 3 races has come in the final 3 laps.
Watch this move by Chandler Smith. He got around Kyle Busch, and he drives up there and takes down Zane Smith and drives to victory lane. That was a dramatic late race 2-truck pass for the victory. So this kid, he gets up on the chip and is ready to go when the chips are down.
There's no shortage of confidence when it comes to Chandler Smith, that's for sure. But he'd love to add to that win total with another one here. And we're going to have the finish when we come back. It'll be NASCAR overtime when we return. Who's going to win it at Sonoma?
Friday, November 4th, and well, before you know it, we'll be
What a beautiful Saturday afternoon in Northern California, the wine country of Sonoma. Sunshine, temperature in the mid-70s. About perfect. You see all those trucks lined up and parked, getting ready for this mad dash to the finish. Currently under red because of an accident involving Stuart Friesen and Josh Balicki. Lawless Allen and Alex Bowman caught up in it as well. 5 races to go, including this one, before the playoffs begin. Next, we'll be on the dirt at Knoxville. One of the iconic venues in motorsports, certainly from a dirt track variety. And the trucks on dirt, always a good time. Next Saturday evening.
We've been on the dirt a lot here too, Vince.
Off track, a little dirt roadie, and it's worked out better for some than others.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a dramatic finish, though. We talked to Chandler Smith. We know how hard he's going to be pushing. Ross Chastain, we know how aggressive he is. He's back in the 5th position, and Zane Smith has just been the fastest, one of the 2-3 fastest trucks entire second half of this race.
Here's the most recent restart, and Chastain there in the 41 truck, and John Hunter Nemechek into the back end of Chastain, and there's that dirt tracking we were talking about.
That is brave right there. He has no idea where that grass ends and that track starts as he's driving right into the sun. Man, he wasn't having any of that guy getting in his back bumper and
But he knew he wasn't going to win if he had just stayed up on the road. He said, the only way I'm going to win is cut through the dirt, and away he went.
Well, you see engines fired and go from red to yellow, and that's good to see the trucks roll. Ben Rhodes on board with him. Rhodes a lap down. He was just coming off pit road when the caution came out, and he segued in between Kyle Busch and Chandler Smith. That guy knows a little something about winning races. Former winner here, in fact. Hall of Famer Ron Hornaday.
Won a lot of races in the old Napa truck, did old Ron Hornaday.
One of those who gave the command to fire engines today.
That was fun, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Former winners here.
Well, if you were going to have an opportunity to beat Kyle Busch, I think the restart at the end of the race is your best chance. We'll see if one of these drivers can take advantage. We know Chandler Smith isn't going to be shy. Maybe Smith makes a move on Kyle, and that opens up the door for somebody else like Zane Smith or a Ty Majeski. Maybe even Chastain sneaks in there.
And Andy, you know this, it's just so easy to bump a guy. You know, you slow down to 25, 30 miles an hour in some of these corners, you're gonna expect to get your tailgate lit up, and that could very well be what happens.
And if everything goes as it's been going, we've been seeing Kyle Busch in that 51 fire off really good. And so if the 18 or the 38 or the 66 doesn't get to him by the apex of 4, I think it's see you later.
You're not going to see him after that?
Exactly.
And that's where Kyle's experience pays off too. I mean, he's been in this situation so many times before. I mean, you don't win the number of races he's won throughout the course of his career without having a skill set that's above most others that you race against.
Your best skill set in this situation is to be able to start so good that they can't get to your rear bumper to move you out of the way. I mean, there's the most skilled guy in the world is not going to do too much to somebody that drives through their rear window, but what you can do on an old set of tires late in the day with a sun-soaked track is be the best at going from middle RPM of first gear to the power and get that launch out of the Geico restart zone into turn 1.
Another good run for Matt DiBenedetto. 6th last week, up inside the top 10 again.
And it hasn't been without some moments along the way, into the tires, down in turn 11, and then also Harrison Burton. He's done a nice job of rallying after a penalty early. He's in the top 10. This is just all about getting laps for the driver of the 17, and the fastest truck, I think, late in the race, we had that pit road penalty. He's rallied. Ankram's rebounded. He's all the way up to the 11th spot.
Technically, it will not be NASCAR overtime, but it's going to be a shootout. Very similar in the fact they're going to take the green and come back around and get the white. 2 laps to determine the winner.
Who will it be, and how important will the launch be? Can Kyle Busch continue to get those same types of restarts he has all day long? Tires got a couple of laps on them. They've been sitting around for a bit. How will they hook up when he goes to the gas?
Not well.
Kyle Busch and Chandler Smith on the front row for this restart. Teammates at KBM. Zane Smith and Ty Majeski in row 2.
We just saw the truck of Smith get the best of Kyle Busch out in Vegas for that restart. Can he do it again?
Pace truck will pull off when they take the green. 2 laps left to settle it.
Be ready for the 66 to make the biggest lunge. This guy needs it the most out of all these guys. Everybody else here is locked in.
The green is out. 2 to go at Sonoma. Kyle Busch gets a good jump. Maybe the space he needs. Can Chandler Smith catch back up? Zane Smith pressuring. Zane Smith on the inside looking for second.
And that's exactly what Kyle Busch wants to see in his mirror. Those guys racing side by side, but Chandler's able to clear Zane.
Majeski back and forth. And Kyle Busch begins to gap Chandler Smith.
The 18 drove way deep into 4 there, trying to make a lunge on the 51. That's going to open the door for Zane again, who late in the running is going to put himself into position. 3 wide at the apex of turn 7.
Look at that mess back there. Dust, dirt, fenders flying. Some big damage for John Hunter in that Ford truck.
Speedy dry, or we got a lot of dust kicked up at the exit, and around goes a truck at the exit of the S's.
Still green as Zane Smith pursues Kyle Busch.
Dean Thompson around.
No yellow.
You're clear. You're clear.
Through 11. Coming to get the white flag is Kyle Busch with a lead of just over a second.
White flag here at the line.
Majeski around Chandler.
Some good battles back in the field as drivers try to secure the best finishing position possible and how that might impact their season. Meanwhile, Kyle Busch continues at the front, trying to win for the first time this season and add to his total as the all-time winningest driver in the series. He can't slip up. Zane Smith just a second back.
And he's not backing off either, Vince. You saw that aggressive exit at 4. He knows what kind of truck Zane Smith has. He's been really fast the second half of this race, and he's closing a bit.
You want to keep your truck in one piece and bring this thing home, but he knows if he backs off a little bit and the 38 even gets sort of within shot, he's going to touch him. Clear through the last part of the S is on the way down to turn 10 here.
If Kyle can just avoid the mistake here and keep Zane Smith a second back.
You got it here, 5-8.
Heading down to turn 11. And for the first time this season in the Camping World Truck Series, Kyle Busch is going to go to victory lane. Career win number 62. Kyle Busch wins at Sonoma.
And check the flag. Nice work, man. Way to get that win here in your final one. Yeah, feels good. Thank you, guys. Awesome work this weekend. Appreciate the effort on fixing all that stuff for me. Good job.
A lot of relieved crew members and crew chief down in that 51 camp.
They didn't want to be talked about, did they, man? They don't want to hear that we didn't win with Kyle Busch, and they got it done today in dramatic fashion. What a great run. What a fun day of racing on the road course.
And a good job by the team in general. This was a team effort. That truck was not great at the beginning of this weekend when they unloaded, and obviously they turned that around, made it an awesome long run truck, and it was Kyle, as normal, really good, firing off on restarts that sealed the deal here.
Zane Smith, truck was not good early, got better with each stop, the adjustments that they made, and he was able to race his way up to a second place finish. And tell you what, Zane Smith's got to be pretty pleased with the way this one shook out today.
Yeah, that's how you go win a championship. Just make the best of a day when you didn't feel like you had the best truck.
Add Kyle Busch's name to our list of winners this season. 9 different winners in 12 races. It's been an incredibly competitive season.
Isn't that awesome? Seeing all these different faces taking their trucks to victory lane.
And Marty Lindley, the crew chief on that 51. Congratulations to Marty. 3 wins for that 51. Corey Heim has won twice in the 51 this season, and now you add Kyle Busch to that list. Kyle will be a threat to win tomorrow in the Cup race. He's won here a couple of times in the Cup car. Daniel Suarez, impressive in relief of Carson Hocevar, runs it up to 6th. But nobody could beat Kyle Busch, and you know, it was bad news for the field early when Kyle said, this truck is good.
Yeah. That's a high standard that he sets a truck to. When he makes that statement, you know it's going to be a long day for the competitors.
He set the fastest lap of anybody all day, led the most laps. Obviously the way he wanted to finish out his truck season.
Now does he say Yahoo, Vince?
He might now.
Look at those fans cheering on Rowdy here in Northern California.
An impressive run, that's for sure. He led the most laps today, 45, in dominating fashion, and then had to get off that great restart at the end of the race to secure the win. And Kyle Busch celebrating his first win of the Camping World Truck Series season. Job well done, and Jamie Little is with the winner.
Well, we talked about everything that they had changed from practice to today that helped most of the problems, but in that last stage, Kyle, you wanted to fire up just a little bit better. How important was that adjustment from your team to be able to fire off on those restarts?
Yeah, it was good. I mean, it's just continuing to work on truck and make it better. You know, appreciate Yahoo and everybody that has made this partnership possible with Toyota and TRD. And this Tundra TRD Pro is awesome today, and you know, really proud to drive it. We had a struggle at Charlotte a couple of weeks ago, but today was really good. So you know, awesome adjustments by Marty and all the guys here to get us in position to be able to win today. Yesterday was ugly. I wasn't sure about it. I didn't feel good about the truck, but they worked on it all night long, and we made some brake changes. We made some chassis changes, and these guys never stop. So we try as hard as it might seem sometimes. I know the effort's there. So, you know, again, appreciate Yahoo, appreciate Rowdy Energy, and all of our partners this year, Safe Flight Auto Glass, all of KBM, all the fans. Appreciate Rowdy Nation. It's awesome to cool off here with some Rowdy.
Kyle, I know that you're all about wins. You look at that win column, and I know you were aware that now it has been 10 straight years that you've won a race in the Truck Series. How important is that to you and this team to keep that streak alive?
Yeah, no, I mean, it's important. You know, certainly would love to have gone and gotten a win in 2011. I look back at that as a miss, right?
You guys never forget.
No, you don't. So it was 11 or 12, can't remember which. But, you know, just, yes, being able to continue that tradition. And we wanted to do that at some of the new tracks we went to this year with COTA and here at Sonoma. So real proud of that, and all proud of the KBM guys, Rowdy Manufacturing, everybody in the CNC shop and chassis shop, all the guys and girls there. So super effort here today, ready to go celebrate.
All right, Kyle Busch, final truck race of the season, and he gets it done, and he wins at Sonoma.
And Zane Smith comes home second place. I know you didn't have the start you wanted, but you got stronger and stronger as the day went along. How would you assess your day?
Yeah, definitely didn't start out too good, and took a huge swing at our MRC Ford Performance F-150, and luckily went the right way. That's really hard to do in a racing situation, obviously. So props to my team, but man, I hate finishing second, especially to him. But I feel like just racing at the 18, I don't know, he got too far out in front, and then I think that last lap was the fastest lap of the race for me. I just wish I was a little bit closer so I have a shot at him.
Zane Smith comes home second place, just wanted one more spot, guys.
Well, 3 wins already for Zane this season, and adding a second place finish certainly good for him from a points perspective, and giving him an opportunity to measure himself up against the best in Kyle Busch. You see Zane Smith still continuing to lead the way with the playoff leaderboard.
Tight up there too, Vince.
Matt Crafton and Grant Enfinger swapping positions today in regards to 9th and 10th of the 10 that will eventually make the playoffs. And Tanner Gray moves up to that 11th spot, the first driver out in regards to the playoffs, but 33 points certainly can be made up in 4 races, and we've got 4 before the playoffs begin, so plenty of time yet for Tanner Gray, and I think even Matt DiBenedetto, maybe even Derek Kraus. Those points can be made up, and certainly a win would vault them above the playoff cut line.
It's been very volatile around that cut line, and like you said, you know, you can make up points with stage points pretty quickly.
And the regular season points very tight. The top 4 separated by just 14 points. Back downstairs to Josh.
Hey, with Daniel Suarez in the 42 truck today, comes home 6th place. A lot went on out there for that team today. Can you put into words this day for you guys?
It was busy, man. It was very busy. I was hoping to go 1 lap down, but when we went 2 laps down, I said, man, there's going to be a long recovery. I was hoping to recover quicker than that, but you know, the truck had the speed, so I was hoping for long runs so I can, you know, be able to make some ground. But with all, the team did a very good job. You know, very thankful I was able to help. You know, we were able to get some stage points in the stage number 2, and then finish in the top 6. So that was a pretty decent day. I wish we could have won. You know, the truck actually was capable of winning the race, but we just ran out of time.
Thanks for your time, Daniel.
Well done. A good team effort all the way around from Nice Motorsports in that 42 group. Back-to-back wins for the 51 team, though. Corey Heim last week at St. Louis in the 51. Today, Kyle Busch in the 51 here at Sonoma. What's your takeaway from this race today, Andy? Great to have you with us, by the way. We enjoyed it.
Absolutely my pleasure. I love being up here. My takeaway is that I've said it over and over and over again. NASCAR, when they come road racing, is the best racing on the planet. I love it. Absolutely exciting every time, right to the checkered flag. I couldn't be more happier with the action that we saw today, both from the young guys coming up and the poise, and a combination of the poise and the aggression that they've got at the right time. Just so cool to see.
And you know what I love? The distance between first to second. Kyle Busch celebrating in victory lane, having a great time. Zane Smith, I hate finishing second, especially to him. I mean, that just tells you how intense it is trying to get these wins in the Truck Series.
Back at it next week, next Saturday from Knoxville, Iowa, and of course tomorrow, the Cup Stars take to the track here at Sonoma. Race day begins at 2 o'clock Eastern, and Cup Series racing from here at Sonoma at 4 o'clock Eastern. What a great day. So thankful for you joining us today. Great to be here for Jamie Little and Josh Sims, Michael Waltrip, Andy Lally. I'm Vince Welch from Sonoma. Congratulations, Kyle Busch.